No.
Hey.
Oi, oi. Hello. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Look at his fancy microphone, ladies and gentlemen.
I know.
I just saw. That's well exciting.
Proper mic.
We're real boys.
Yeah.
Are you having a snifter tonight?
Yes, I might do. Speaking of snifters, I literally just got a text from our Angelo thanking me for the whiskey because I sent him some whiskey from us.
Well, Ellie's present arrived today as well. The timing of that couldn't have gone better. There you go. Magnificent.
Very, very humble Christmas bonus from.
Yes, yeah.
But you're both very welcome, and obviously we wish we could do more. But but Angelo's really helped me out in other ways as well this year. So I very cryptically asked him if he likes whiskey the other day, and he was like,
"Right,
yeah, why?" And I was like, "No reason,
nothing. Bye."
Yeah, which was pretty painfully obvious. Yeah, but
that's okay. That's all right. I think I've been pretty super. I nearly opened Ivan's Christmas present in front of him the other day, but I didn't. Also, next week, Risky Quizness, Thursday 17th, no movie, Risky Quizness, and I've seen Saxon in the chat. So that would be Duncan versus Saxon in the battle for just annoying references to Mannequin 2 and Dunstan Checks In.
Amazing.
So yeah, next week. But this week we occupy ourselves with Batman Returns. It's one of those films I don't like.
Me too, really. As time has gone on, I used to like it as a kid, but I really didn't. And it sounds bad. I really didn't want it to win. This was the Democracy Dies in the Dark or whatever thing. I was just like, no, fucking. I wanted to
It stormed it as well, didn't it?
Yeah, I feel like Donald Trump now. I'm like, it's all rigged, and I want mount a legal challenge.
yeah. Let's recount Oklahoma or whatever.
Or whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, so
it's a foreign country, innit? I know.
Yeah, but so yeah. I mean, this is really the Joe Biden of my No, I mean that doesn't really stack up. But you know what I mean. I don't mind it, but I was kind of like I wanted Long Kiss Goodnight to win. To be honest, I think
I would have rather gone down the Shane Black route, but here we are, I suppose. I mean, it then opens us up to a wider conversation about Batman, doesn't it?
Batman.
The Batman. Yeah. Greetings, I am Bruce Batman. I'm here to stop this crime. I don't know.
With my mustache.
That's how Batman goes, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's how Batman goes.
Thank you. It definitely almost is.
Sure, why not?
We're not...
I have no idea.
My cousin is his name is Albert Batman. Shoemaker.
The true origin story. We're not on Twitch tonight. We're not multi-streaming because the last 2 streams, when I've ended the stream, YouTube has deleted them.
Is that why?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm still getting to the bottom of it. I didn't have time to do many tests. Yeah. So I did a quick test stream just to YouTube before, and it appears to have deleted that.
Right.
So I don't know. So what I'm doing instead, I'm recording I'm recording an MP4 to OBS. Right. So if this stream does disappear from the rewatch, as the ones did the last 2 weeks, I can immediately upload it to YouTube as I did with The Fugitive. And what did we watch last week? I can't remember.
The thing with the man who could.
Those boys and their green gas in the prison, I think it's called.
That's the one, The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson's gas.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson's gas.
He stores in pellets in a chemical weapons facility.
Exactly. Another factually based film.
Yeah.
See, Doohick O'Donnell just said, if it helps, I voted for Die Hard 2. Good on you.
It does help.
It was quite. I remember. I just had a quick check because obviously you handle all of that Patreon stuff. I did a quick check and it was just like, fuck! It's getting like everything's getting trounced by Batman. Like this is like the most insanely decisive victory for Batman.
Which I really didn't think it would be. I thought this would be a harder one to call, but apparently not.
People like Batman. People like Batman. It's one of those things we're accused of talking about all the time, despite the fact I think we talked about it 4 times, if that. I think we did both the Schumacher ones. We did both the Schumacher ones. You did Dark Knight with... You did this movie with Folk Saxon, which I completely forgot about.
Yes, of course, yes.
I completely forgot about that, even though I fucking filmed it.
Didn't we do Batman 89 as well? Or am I making that up?
You and I did. We did. You're absolutely right. You and I did Batman 89, and then you did The Dark Knight with Ben from Conversation Hat.
Yes.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there has been some Batman, but not much really. Batman Returns won by 59. Well, it had 59% of the vote. Die Hard 2, Die Harder, matey, had 12%. Long Kiss Goodnight had 29, but only 34 voted this week. Such is the powerful indifference to the birth of our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ.
Yes, so it would seem.
Only explanation, Duncan.
I think yes, yeah, religious ambivalence.
Religious ambivalence. Your phrasing is so much better than mine. Yeah, I love that. It feels so important when you call it religious ambivalence. Yeah, but this is a wider discussion. I guess we can talk about Warner's, and as Dan Lars has just said, we can talk about WB, HBO Max.
Yes, someone actually, Omar told me about that yesterday on the Patreon Q&A that I did last night, and yeah, he told me about that because I didn't know kind of what the score was there. I mean, I must say I'm still none the wiser as to what the plan is vis-a-vis what titles are going where, but.
And I think it's day and date, so I believe are they not getting released in the cinemas but also going on streaming the same day, so they're kind of hedging their bets somewhat.
Cashback.
We have got a super chat from Sean Northridge. Would you like to read it?
Sean Northridge. And he writes, may not be able to stick around for the whole stream, but it's great to be able to get in on the time this round. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Sean. Bonjour. Andrew Capit sends us £10 on PayPal. So thank you very much, Andrew. As always, sort of silent partner that he is in this, because he doesn't. Does he chime in on the stream as well?
Sometimes. I've seen him. He's Andrew K on the.
Okay.
I believe.
Very good.
Yes, it's very good, very good. I'm just going to fuck around with my lights a bit because I can. I'm going to stay with this red one. I will get bored of this eventually. I swear to God. There we go. Back to normal. Good. So quiz next week, and then we're going to have probably a little break for Christmas. We're celebrating the birth of our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ, which is a phrase that I always find funny to say. I tell you what, Duncan, I've noticed you're a bit misaligned. I'm just going to drag the centre of the screen to the middle of Catwoman's nose. There we go. That feels a bit more centred. Very good. That's the obsessive compulsive part of me. Just.
Am I coming through okay? Because I'm aware I'm not talking directly into the mic.
It sounds great. You sound amazing. It sounds really good.
Well, that's wonderful. Part of the problem I have is that I thought I could put it on I've got a performance mic stand, but it's not like one of those, whatever they are, cantilever, like my desk lamp, but that you can't see. But I have nowhere to attach one of those. Otherwise, I would. But so I've mounted it. It has the same sort of thread size because it's universal as my mic stand, but it doesn't. I have to kind of put it betwixt my legs, and then if I put it like right in front of me, then obviously you can't see my horrible.
Then it's face. Like you're like reporting on Formula One in 1928 is what.
Yeah, one of those things they used to have that were literally they would sit on their what's that called? Whatever it's called. There's a name for it. It's weird. But anyway, Filtrum. There you go. And they would rest it on there and they'd be like, yeah, some indecipherable garbage into it.
So that was microphone technology then when you had to go. You can see my mount here. But I'm very lucky in that I'm next to a bookcase. If I try and put it on this desk here, it's all sort of like up in my business, and it's no good. So I just have it on that bookcase there, which is quite helpful. Really.
And you're using what sort of mic are you using? He said suddenly becoming the audio expert.
This is a Tortec. It's a British brand. I actually found these in PMT, the amusingly named music chain shop.
Oh right,
right. They had a 3-pack of them for quite cheap, so I got them because the sound quality is decent enough, and nice. My Rode mic is a directional mic for recording in the field, so every time I moved away from it was catching me. And also when we do roundtables and stuff in the future, we can.
Yes, well, I've got a mic here as well. I've got my Shure performance.
Mic,
right, which is it's fantastic. So yeah, we're all set, I think.
Yeah, you're sounding great, and you're not. Your movement has left the audio quality unmolested. Justine is here. We've both guested on Justine's show before, and he's given us 5 Norwegian kroner. Spice World. I'm able to watch this live this time.
Correction, 55 Norwegian kroner.
Oh, pardon me, 55. Sorry, I've never been to. I would love to go to Norway.
Have you not? You've never been?
You've never been?
Been to Oslo with my dad, who I believe is also in the chat at the moment. But yes,
I've never been to that part of the world. I really need to sort that out.
That's all I have to say about that.
Well, I did Prague this time last year.
Nice.
And it was beautiful. It just happened to not be it's usually really cold, and it wasn't that cold, and I was going prepared to die.
You kind of want it to be, though. That Prague is one of those cities where I'm like, I've only been in the cold, like full disclosure. Well, I guess it was around end of September, kind of October time. So it was, it was not freezing cold, but it was cold. And it's one of those kind of winter cities. It's a bit like, for me, that's what Bruges is a bit like. It's like kind of that.
It was cold when I went to Bruges because my friend's family always do a Christmas trip and they invite us all, and we went, and that was awesome. It's just drinking beer and eating chocolate and hot wine and being drunk in public. It's the ultimate Brits abroad kind of holiday.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's the welcome to the recanting things you can't do at the moment show.
I never understand how like the Czechs and the Belgians and stuff aren't just. I mean, we have the obesity problem, but they make like waffles and chocolate and beer and frites and all that stuff. But then that's what they feed us, isn't it? That's not probably what they're all like. Stupid fuckers, we're having showers, said the Dutch man, who I'm not talking about right now. You know what I mean?
It's just shallad, you fucking dickhead.
You fucking dickhead. Speaking of the Dutch, Amsterdam is a wonderful place as well. Not obviously for the red light district, that's one thing, but just as a lovely place to spend time. I really enjoyed it. And the Dutch
it's lovely.
are the nicest people I think in the world. Not that I've been everywhere in the world, but they are incredibly nice.
I've been everywhere. I think. No, Netherlands is lovely. Have you been to Utrecht?
No.
Utrecht's fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It's so nice. Yeah, and it's not far. You go down on a train, and it's just this completely beautiful little place. I'm supposed to go to Amsterdam in the spring.
Oh.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Because that's just ridiculous. The chances of that happening, I think, are pretty slender, but it's supposed to happen. So let's see. I've been as a grubby boy tourist smoking weed, and I've also been as a grown-up with my girlfriend, let's go and look at the galleries and stuff trip. So I've seen it both ways. And that's the place I went on a hen do to as well. I went on a hen do.
To where? To Utrecht?
To Amsterdam. So
Amsterdam. Yeah. Well, when I went there with my then girlfriend, now wife, and she just wanted to show me around the red light district, which I found deeply.
It is a huge tourist attraction. One of the times I was there, we were in the red light district. Because did you go in the evening when it's just like rammed? There's thousands of people just go to Gork.
In the day, we just went around in the day. But
if you go at night, because there's loads of bars around there as well. If you go at night, it's just rammed because tourists just go to Gork at it basically. And obviously you go and have sex with the girls in those red glass booths with a toilet roll dispenser. What always cracks me up is if you look in the background, there's like a toilet roll dispenser on the wall, and it's like, this one guy walked out of a sex worker booth. I don't know what they're called, a sex TARDIS, whatever. And there's thousands of people on the street. And this guy came out with his collar up, all dodgy, and one bloke who was definitely British went, "Hey!" And then the whole street started going, "Oh!" and like pointing at him. And
he probably had an addiction.
He had an addiction.
I don't know. I have no idea.
It's definitely like, I feel sorry for that man who went to get his dick wet, and then a whole street full of tourist dickheads that went, it's just like, oh my god, I bet he wish he'd stayed home and had a wank.
Well, the thing is as well, it's like you're in the red light district. What is so amazing about that? You know what I mean? It's a bit like, well,
it's something like if you're going to do that as well, like because it's just fully legal. There are more discreet ways than just walking into a booth in front of 1,000 tourists with your, doing your fly up.
It's like standing around an outlet mall and pointing and congratulating people every time they walk out with.
They walk out with trainers, yeah.
Like,
he's got trainers.
Yeah.
Just because people are arseholes.
That guy, Gunwharf Quays in Portsmouth. I was a spokesman for their particular brand. No, not a spokesman. I did an advert for them ages ago. That's fun.
Yeah, Duncan.
Brand ambassador.
For Gunwharf Quays. What's the one there? Fuck it. Oh, Bicester Village. Fuck me.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah. I couldn't afford any of it. Came home. I was like, I could afford a t-shirt at the time. I was skint.
It's like, look, this reduced Armani bag is only 500 quid. And it's like, if you go into Bicester, I feel sorry for the people of Bicester because it's just like a little town.
Yeah.
And all these twats come to go to Bicester Village.
Well, this is just like this line of Range Rovers just like continually going around like some horrendous conveyor belt.
Mate, I had to take a busload of. I probably told you at the time, but I took a busload of Chinese kids there for work. So we had 3 busloads, each with about 100 kids on, and all of the mum and dads, the fuckers back in China, had sent the kids with massive empty suitcases to fill up,
full of coronavirus.
Full of corona, they just sneeze into loads of carrier bags. And they sent these kids, and the parents all insisted that we spend 8 hours in Bicester Village, and all these kids had shopping lists, bless them. They spent the first hour doing the shopping list for their parents' shit, and then for the next 7 hours, we just had to sit around because the adult teachers that were there also wanted to stay there for 8 hours. So we were all condemned to a day of Bicester Village.
Yeah, it's not.
Get out of a hotel, go to Bicester Village, and then come back to the hotel.
When we went, it was pissing down with rain. It was one of those weekends where we just didn't know what to do with ourselves, and we were like, we'd heard tell of this place, and I thought, well, at least maybe there'll be other stuff there. Like it won't just all be very high end stuff. But it was like, it was just. The only thing there were a couple of things like Hackett I quite like as a brand and Brioni, but they aren't, again, these are all sort of hyper, high-end fashion or whatever brands. And it was just like, I guess that's a bargain considering that the original price of that jacket was $2,000, but
right, it's a high-end bargain, isn't it?
I'm kind of like, I keep looking up, like I up things every now and again, like nice items of clothing that I think I might treat myself to, and then my daughter throws up all down my shirt or whatever, and I go, yeah, that's not.
No, you're not even at the phase where she's drawing crayon on the wallpaper yet. That's a whole other thing.
No, we've got
it's
that
a transition to make a transit. It makes a change. Her doing it rather than me when I visit, because I know that really annoyed you.
Well, was that crayon or because it was distinctly brown and smelly? Speaking
yeah,
of which, we're transitioning nicely. Okay, we came down this morning. I hear my wife going like, "No, get down, get down." Oh my god! She goes, "There's some presents here for you," and I was like, "Presents?"
Oh no!
And then she was like, "Some fucking presents," and I was like, "Oh." And Winston, quite uncharacteristically, had dropped his bricks all down the stairs. He'd obviously tried to come up to tell us that he needs to go out and hadn't made it, and he dropped them like all around the fucking. And it's downstairs all day, like up until about 3:00 this afternoon. Our downstairs smelt like a barn. It was really weird. It smelled like one of those, like when you go around like a stable or whatever, and people are mucking out horses. That's stank. Anyway, sorry.
He's been eating straw.
Yeah. Well, I've been giving him loads of. I always give him all the carrot peelings and all the the cast-offs of veggies that he can have, like broccoli and stuff. But obviously, I don't give him like onion and that because that's bad for them. But yeah, it's rare for him. He's not normally a.
Yeah, he's a good boy when he's not killing himself or leaving presents. But...
Yeah, I think it might be. He was a bit upset this week because he had to go to the vet for his booster shots, and he also had to go. He went to the groomers yesterday, so I think he's just a little bit out of sorts.
Bit shook up. We have a super chat from Bicoloured Prawn. Would you like to read it?
Okay. Evening, guys. Looking forward to tonight, as I've had a promising relationship with my wonderful girl go wrong. Oh, that was looking. You raised my hopes and then dashed them quite expertly. So.
Yeah, the headline isn't quite so jolly.
Yeah, you buried the lead there, I'm afraid. And I'm pretty depressed. Well, I'm very sorry to hear that. You guys always make people smile. You're doing a public service. Bless you. Well, thank you.
Well, this is for you tonight, Bicoloured Prawn.
Yeah,
the stream is for you.
This one's for the lonely-hearted Batman Return.
There'll be another woman along in a minute. I mean, I'm still single, but there'll be another woman along in a minute. It always happens. It's fine.
Well, you're off to
more difficult. That's true. Yeah, I'm going to get cheered at by a bunch of English tourists after I've caught gonorrhea from a sex TARDIS. I need to. I'll just. Sorry, we should probably say hello to people in chat. Professional Moron emailed us, and we talked about the email, and I didn't reply to him. And I don't know if he's in the chat. Shall we have a look? I probably should look. Let me restore the chat there. I've pressed the wrong button. Because Professional Moron, yes, we will participate, or one of us participate with the thing you said. That's what I'm trying to say.
Which was?
It was about to do a blog on us or something, I think, as I remember.
Oh.
I had a bit of a full week. So if you're watching Professional Moron, I will reply to your email shortly. Sorry about that. Bit of a full week. And I see all the wonderful people. I saw a James Liddell. I saw an Omar. I saw a Steve Allen. I saw a Josh. I saw an Ian McGar. I saw Neil Hart. I saw Mr. Richie Seriously, Eric Granland, Petter Danielson, Marco Marin, Colin McLean, Neil Hart again. I'm not reading them from the list. James Atkinson, did I say that already? Steve Allen, Phil Robb, Fremantle, Daniel Hawkins, Andrew Kay, of course, Michael Small. Hi everybody, hi. People are all rallying around Bicoloured Prawn. Don't worry, man, this is for you. And this is a film that neither of us particularly like, so it's going to go horribly off. We're both drinking whiskey.
I am now. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit behind you with that.
Oh, you're all right. I've only had a little sift. I got a reduced bottle of Gentleman Jack. It was only £20. It normally retails for around 30.
The recommended retail price.
Recommended retail price. Yeah. And my self isolation starts today.
Oh yes.
So I'm going to go out and do running still, but I'm going to wait till it's quiet and just stick to places where there aren't many people or any people. But yeah,
Brad
I was
Watson.
in the shop last night.
Brad Watson in the house. Yo.
Brad Watson in the house.
The movie the Happy Meal was invented for. Very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, this is a weird ass movie.
It is.
I mean, some might say it's indulgent, masturbatory first year film school crap. Others, not me, I wouldn't say that. But
not my
others,
words. The words of
not my
Shaking
words.
Stephen.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'm probably gonna say that in about 5 minutes, whenever it starts. But hey, he was dead young when he made these, wasn't he? Wasn't he like 24 when
he was 25 when he did the first one, I think. Well, yeah, 24 or something like that. Yeah, he was in his early to mid 20s, which is nuts when you think about it.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. I was so young. I mean, because he came through was it Disney animation? Like he came through animation first, and he clearly made a name for himself. And he clearly impressed a lot of people. And look, Batman was this massive global smash. So what the fuck do I know? And there's a lot to like. I mean, I think the production design of this film's amazing. It's very clearly a Batman film made by someone who doesn't like Batman or want to make a Batman film, which is kind of problematic, really.
Yeah, it's sort of the inverse of Zack Snyder, and that all Zack Snyder wanted to do, I think, was make a Batman film, and ended up kind of disregarding Superman when Superman was kind of a part of it. And and obviously Burton was kind of on track to do a Superman film. That didn't happen, but there you go.
Yeah, well, that's a whole interesting thing. I wonder if because Keaton's supposedly back for this Flashpoint movie. Turns out everyone in the whole world is back for this. Have you been watching? I don't know how.
I thought you say, "Are you in that?" No.
Well, there's a meme has arisen that because they keep confirming people that are in the new Spider-Man movie.
Right.
So like Alfred Molina's in it, Jamie Foxx is in it. I've lost track. And it's supposed to be some multi-dimensional thing, and people keep doing the joke of like, oh, Tom Holland is confirmed to appear in Spider-Man 3, or like I am in Spider-Man 3 and stuff. Right. So maybe you are. But yeah, it's the DC have their own thing going on with Flashpoint, so they're bringing back they're supposedly bringing back Michael Keaton for that, and then I wonder if they did get Nicolas Cage in as crazy Tim Burton versus Superman, that would be pretty cool.
That would be amazing. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
I mean, that Tim Burton Superman definitely looks terrible. I'm sorry, but it definitely looked terrible. But it would have I would have loved to have seen this completely insane version. You know, at least but it definitely would have sucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how it would have been any good, really. Looking at all I've seen the documentary they did on it. It's just like, nah. I mean, you know, I don't know. It's all concept stuff, so you don't know what would have how it would have sort of become something else. But they just seem to be going off in a really ridiculous direction. It's a really weird one, that, and I think I brought it up before about how sort of DC seems to just jump in with both feet on certain things, but they take ages to do it. It's really weird. Like that one would have been a kind of this crazy, you know, definitely not Christopher Reeve's thing, not anything from before yet, no kind of origin story, nothing like that. It was just going to be like, hi, I'm Superman, and then fucking, you know, that's it. And then he was going to, they were going to do the death and return of Superman in like a movie with no prior established anything, and it's just like, well, what is that about?
Which is the mistake they were doomed to make further down the line, you know, because that's exactly what they fucking did with
pretty much
Batman versus Superman. Because it's like, oh, here's Dark Knight Returns, and here are the two theoretical last Batman and Superman stories in the second film of the series or whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, at least you got Man of Steel first, but then again, that was almost worse because it was like, well, here's your, don't get too comfortable because here he is, but there you know.
Yeah, he's dead now, and it's Batman's first movie, and it's like, well, here's Dark Knight Returns, kind of. It's like, well, hold on, no.
Yeah.
Just stop, please.
Jesus, stop it already.
Use a pen, Sideshow Zack Snyder. Have you seen Nicolas Cage has got a thing about the history of swearing coming out on Netflix?
Yes, well, yeah, someone brought it up last night.
That's fantastic. That trailer for that looks like loads of fun. Good old Nick Cage, man. He's the world's maddest bastard, and I love him for it.
Yeah, me too, man. And I effectively got to share a screen with him thanks to Brad. So thank you, Brad, and thank you, Nick.
True.
Nick, my boy.
Cagey, I call him. N-Cage, I call him.
N-Cage, yeah.
My mate, N-Cage. Yeah, we're all mates, We're all mates.
Yeah,
I know him too.
Got his number. Or
yeah.
whatever.
I know his jacket smells like leather.
It's corduroy, but
it's corduroy.
Smells like leather.
Don't derail my weird nonsensical boasts, Duncan.
Nonsensquitter.
Nonsensquitter.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I don't know really what we're talking about. Oh yeah, Batman and shit. So yeah, that well, someone's just talked about J.K. Simmons and stuff with that whole thing. Like, did you see the last Spider-Man film? The Far
I did.
Closer to
yeah.
home or back home or up?
Yeah, they're all homes. Home and away, set in Australia.
Closer each day.
Spider-Man. If the next one's not called Spider-Man Closer Each Day, then I'm going to be really annoyed.
Like the full thing, yeah. Yeah, well, because at the end of that, doesn't J.K. Simmons has a cameo of J. Jonah Jameson, and it's just like, what does that mean? Like, I mean, it's great because I love J.K. Simmons, but
well, I think that as a standalone thing, nothing to do with Multi Dimensions, is fine. I think bringing him back is he's the definitive version, and bringing him back does show a lack of imagination. But I liked recasting him as an internet kind of Alex Jonesy pundit is a good modern take on that character. And if you're going to bring him back, at least do it in a completely different way, which they seem to have done. Yeah. But I think what they're actually setting up is he's going to meet the flat top haircut one from the Raimi universe, and they're going to go wah, and that's why he's there, rather than. Though apparently fucking dead, like Charlie Cox has been cast in that movie as well now, so we're gonna have Daredevil, which is good because Spidey and Daredevil team ups are a thing that have existed for a long time. That's true,
and I do like that Daredevil. I didn't really follow it beyond the second season or the one that they did with Punisher.
It kind of farted to a halt. Like the second season was great, but then it sort of tailed off, owing to sort of most exterior factors, I think, really. But it was cool. Vincent D'Onofrio as a Kingpin, that was just amazing. Like all those episodes just on him. So if he can come into the movie version, which he deserves to, because I can't. That to me, his performance of Kingpin was as good as J.K. Simmons in the Raimi Spider-Man as Jameson. Yeah, like they were that level, god tier.
For sure. Did you see? So you saw Into the Spider-Verse, didn't you?
Oh god, it's the best Spider-Man movie. I did a video on it with Sam Gavin of a more popular channel, which you can find on our uploads if you want to watch it.
Indeed, sorry, right, yeah. No, and I really like that, and I thought, who was the Kingpin in that? Because they drew the Kingpin as this just like monolithic square, like insanely like
big square. Yeah, I don't know who did the voice of Kingpin in that. It's not a particularly well-known voice cast. Really wonderful film, really clever film. Really, all the different animation techniques and frame rates and stuff, and Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir is a lovely, lovely, lovely thing.
That was brilliant. It's really so good. And I love the Spider-Man from the future or whatever. He's just lazy and can't be asked. It's such a wonderful. It just gets every note perfect. I think I don't know how else. And Miles Morales is obviously like really well put together because like he's got limitations and he's got these like random powers that don't make any sense. And obviously it's all allegorical about puberty. Really, I mean that's what Spider-Man always is. It's about men finding strength and things they can't control, and or becoming men, and that's what becoming a man is. So it's like I just thought it was just a very well observed thing, and like you say, the animation style was incredible. It's
just beautifully watchable, isn't it? It's a really lovely, nice thing to pop on. It's probably my favourite Spider-Man film, actually. I'm a big lover of animation, but
it's up there, man. I was watching it with my daughter actually because it was when my wife had gone out for the evening, and I was sat there with my daughter watching it, and when. This is not. I don't say this to make any grand point. It was when the Spider Gwen came on. She just let out this huge yelp, and it wasn't good. I mean, she wouldn't have known what the hell. She was just moving things on the screen, but it was just quite a like, all right,
fair enough.
So I think that was her favourite character.
I really like the design of Spider Gwen because, like, when they did her in comics originally, and I think the version in the movie, this costume's exactly the same. It's just because there's all the whites in that costume just create this kind of void. Mm-hmm. And they kind of trade on that in the movie. It's just a really because it's like a negative image of Spider-Man almost,
right?
Because it's not as dark. It's just really lovely design. I always love Miles Morales' Spidey costume as well, the inverted red and black thing. And from a standpoint, design standpoint. It's time to start the film.
The film. What?
The film.
It's here. There we are. Sorted. Right. I need to get this thing.
All right. No worries. No worries.
No worries, mate. I need to get I don't need the knife, John.
I got a staggy between the wings, Batman. I don't know. All right. Hashtag Skellingtonverse, says Steve Allen.
Very good.
Oh dear. Yes. Oh, it was Liev Schreiber was Kingpin.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, very good. Well,
doing one of those unrecognisable voice role things because he's all quite New Yorky, isn't he, and grizzly and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think if you're hired as a celebrity voice, this has always been my kind of beef with a lot of these things, actually, and it's what a lot of voice actors have said as well. Is that it's like if you're a professional voice actor and you lose out to celebrities on things, it's frustrating because they're not doing voices; they're just doing themselves. And
Yeah, because when they put like, oh well, Snoop Dogg is going to have a role in Trolls 9, and it's just, well, yeah, he's just going to come out and say shizzle my nizzle or whatever, and then
exactly. If he was like, nah, man, I've worked on like this. Hello, I'm British. It's like everyone would be like,
that would be amazing. That would be the greatest thing I'd ever heard.
Yeah.
God.
Well, they're hired to be recognisable, aren't they? So I do get it, but
it's a name to slap on the poster, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yost.
Right, I'm ready when you are, my friend.
I'm ready. I'm good to go. Do you want to do the countdown?
Oh, I will. It's been a while. 46.
No.
No. So we'll count from 5, team. We'll count from 5. And I'm going to say go, so we're going to press go on go. So, if you please, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And so begins the. Something I've been ruminating about. For some reason, pressing go has opened the floodgate for this. Something I noticed in our old form when we, where we used to work together and stuff. We talked about this, and just general interactions. I've noticed that groups of fans that are insanely tribal and rabid, like Star Wars, Jurassic Park, I noticed weirdly, and Batman, the 3 that come to mind. I know it's definitely a comics thing, but there's definitely this feeling that if you insult the thing, you're insulting them. And it becomes this immensely... Most of the time when you get kind of really angry, mad comments of people, it used to be from people because we'd said we didn't like something in Star Wars or something in Batman, something in Jurassic Park. And you'd get those really angry... Because there was a time where there was this really insistent tribalism around these films. It's either like you're into Burton or you're a Nolanite, and you have to be a Nolanite, and you have to be one or the other.
I mean, it's kind of like... It's bled into... to every aspect of it. I remember when people used to argue over Xbox and PlayStation. They probably still do, and I know it's like you have to pick your side. People do it. Obviously, I'm quite into my watches and stuff. People do it with watches. It's like fuck off. Like just you have to probably be a grown up to afford these things, or at least I guess like you might be a rich kid or whatever. But basically, you have to be a grown up, and it's like. You twats, like it's not a zero-sum game. It's not like if you like a thing but someone else doesn't, that somehow cancels out the thing. It's like just like your thing, enjoy it, that other things can exist, you can enjoy them as well. You know what I mean? Like your enjoyment isn't diminished. It's like grow up, for fuck's sake.
I'll freely admit that when I first started doing this, and one of the first things we talked about was like Batman. I was younger, and it was coming off the back of the time, getting off 10 years ago now, it was coming off the back of the time when it was all about fucking Channel Awesome and stuff like that. So, like, you were supposed to come on the internet and go like, this movie's like poop coming out of a butt, and only morons like this, and whatever, because that was just a dumb thing, which I don't really do anymore. But I still don't like this film, and I admit I perhaps might have agitated, but I would get people coming after me for years afterwards in comments, just going like, you fucking prick! And it'd just be like, perhaps breathe. Someone you don't know who has no kind of buying power in this situation disagrees with you about a 25-year-old film.
Yeah. I mean...
You can afford to probably a little bit and just, chill out.
I know. It would be like you being annoyed at me for not liking Predators or whatever. And it's like...
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's not merely that you don't like it, it's that you're an evil moron that has to be removed from the gene pool because you're an awful person. It's like,
well, yeah. I mean, I do think there is. We a lot of people make the mistake of tying up their morality, but also sense of self-worth, I suppose, or like it's that thing of like I do this, I recycle, I vote this way, I do that, I am a good person. And it's like, why don't you just be a good, like, why don't you actually think about what being a good person is and not tie it to these arbitrary things that can shift and move and be different? Because if you plant your flag on that hill, then you have to defend it to the death. It's like if I say that Tim Burton's Batman Returns is like the greatest Batman film ever, and it's like, well, they're going to make more. And if you say that, then you have to sort of defend it to this ridiculous degree. And it's like, why don't you just enjoy what you enjoy, accept that it's your opinion, and not everyone has to give a fuck? Like, huh? How about that?
We were once tangentially on a video that was on the channel we used to be on. This American guy left this deeply frightening video response that felt like I'm not being flippant. It felt like one of those video testimonies left behind by a high school shooter. It was like this really worrying, troubling video response about having the wrong opinion about Tim Burton's Batman, which wasn't even like I hate this. It was just a lukewarm look at Tim Burton's Batman, and the kind of sort of what came back felt like a kind of ISIS hostage video. Or kind of,
I do think, so in that particular instance, I think the gentleman in question probably had other issues going on that
absolutely
didn't allow him to kind of appraise the situation properly. I think he, that's one of those. I remember him flipping off about the fact that because I wasn't involved in that one. For legal,
it wasn't me at all. Actually, it was about the retrospective.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah,
it was. I remember him being critical of the thing about using guns, and Batman doesn't use guns, and blah blah blah. And he I remember him getting so angry that obviously Batman used guns in the first
1938 or whatever.
Yeah, and it was just like. But he was angry because that was a thing, and like the retrospective or whatever said that he shouldn't use guns, and it was just like, yeah, but why you're getting angry over a thing that is a fact, but it's not. You're missing all the connective tissue that goes into saying why he shouldn't and why it's better that he doesn't, and it's like, and it's an established thing now that he doesn't, and what is your problem? Like, it's like, why can't you? But again, that shows a sort of disassociation with. Human expression that I think that particular man.
I think that was a quite profoundly ill man, and yes. I hope he's found the peace he clearly needs, or has got help or whatever. There are no links to that video, by the way.
Wishing him death, by the
way? Found peace. It did sound a little bit like that. Like if he is missing, I think he probably went missing in Eastern Europe.
Or I hope he not a sort of hostile situation. Or I hope he found his father's peace. And blew his fucking brains out.
Jesus Christ!
That was just. I don't really.
Oh, there's an evocation of real life tragedy. Yeah, let's just talk about this. No, I hope he's all right. I mean, because it was this deeply frightening video that he made. Some of you.
I do like that shot. I do like that shot of the sort of flippers just going into the drain. I mean, Tim Burton does creepy well. It's like Edward Scissorhands and all that stuff. He does gothic creepy very well.
I absolutely must say, I think the filmmaking here is superb. Like I really rate. Like, I know Tim Burton knows how to direct, and I think there's some really nice stuff. And I think the Batman '89, it's something the animated series carried on. It was something that evokes the Depression, but is set in the modern day. So everyone's got kind of trilby hats and there's read all about it and all that kind of stuff, and kind of classic cars. But it which gives it that kind of timeless feel. It makes it exist out of time. This Gotham is very much like in another dimension and everything. Another world, and it's just like. I really like the German expressionist stuff is done really well, but it's like that's all you do. Yeah, that's all you do for 2 hours, and you even call the bad guy Max Schreck.
I know,
like it's so fucking on the nose.
And shit. Like, look at him; he's got a cigar in his breast pocket. It's just like, what was the costume test like that? What was it like for that? It's just like, right. It's like, is there any?
I need a cigar.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, there's one thing missing from this costume for it to be complete. I gotta have one single solitary cigar.
See, that's kind of. I can imagine him being so scary to deal with that Tim Burton's just like, yeah, it's fine. You could have your single cigar.
He's sort of. You can see in the performance. I mean, you don't even have to like hear him, and he's like, "This is all It's I don't care, whatever." And Selena Kyle, it's you can see him like shrugging. I mean, this is sort of peak. This is peak Walken before he went into pastiche. Before it became ironic to do. So it's like he's still. Hell of a cup of coffee, and he's still kind of doing, he's almost doing it. So it's like you couldn't really discern between this and something else that was really serious and and earnest and all that kind of thing. He's just sort of, Chip. Hey, Dad, I gotta go. It's got the weirdest voice if you watch it, and it's sort of this sort of Germanic thing, I guess, and it's just like, but
he's got a kind of Schwarzenegger-y vibe to him. It's weird,
but sort of. Yeah, if Schwarzenegger got hit in the head by like a baseball bat or something,
if he's a pro wrestler for 40 years, that's what it'd be like.
Exactly.
It's like I mean, just look at the production design is amazing. I get a bit. These first two movies, well, all of these movies, these 4 movies, if you want to do it like that. I always get frustrated with how kind of obviously set bound they are, but
yeah,
if you're doing a German expressionist thing, they have to be. That's part of that.
Yeah.
But also, why don't you try making a Batman film?
When I was speaking to, having been on a Tim Burton set, I will say that the detail is pretty nuts. Like Dark Shadows, they built an entire town effectively on like and things that weren't in the movie, but there was like facades for theaters, and it was like movie theaters rather, and they had like all the proper posters for I think it's the 71 or something it was, and so they had like Clockwork Orange or whatever it was, and then it was like it had a foyer, like you could go into it, and there was like a popcorn stand in a foyer, but it didn't go anywhere. It was just like there was no cinema there, but it was just.
But there's that depth through the windows, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of like you don't realize the degree to which, and the reason they do that is not to be lavish and blow a load of money. It's the fact that actually it's money saving, because if you do that, bearing in mind that these things aren't as set in stone as you might think. So it's like if Tim has it in, or Johnny has it in their head, Johnny, to be like, oh, we could actually, do you know what, that would work really well is if we did this dialogue over there, or if something happened in there, and it's like it just gives you options. So like, okay, quick, let's go film in the cinema foyer, or let's go. You can put a camera somewhere and not worry about catching scaffolding or things that aren't supposed to be there.
Right.
That's really what it is. It's just to cover all. I think. I mean, Brad, if you're still here, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where a lot of budget ends up going. But it was incredible. I mean, they built like a whole street and a town, but it's like that's cheaper than going to Maine and taking over a town and paying everyone to clear.
Was that like Pinewood or Shepperton or something?
Pinewood, yeah. The tank. Yeah. They've got that big tank at the back, out the back, with the blue screen and stuff. Okay, well, there's this big external tank, and that was like the ocean basically, because it has a huge blue screen behind it, and so therefore it was turned into the ocean. And then they had these canneries that were either side that were competing fish companies, and one got blown up, which was kind of cool. And I was there for that. So yeah, it's great, and he is great. And like I said, I've said this before, but like he was going around the set dressing it with bits of broken fish after the thing had blown up, like very fastidious.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah, I could believe that because he comes from an art background,
right? And
it shows. I mean, because I've seen his art books and stuff, and he's just got this amazing. This is the thing. He's got this amazing visual style, but I just think letting him loose as this auteur director was a huge mistake that we're all paying the price for years later.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he would have done if he was just a director for hire. I don't know how that would have.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I think the thing, I think indisputably, what they've done with the Batman films thus far, and I think the jury perhaps might still be out on Matt Reeves, but like they've all glommed on to sort of high profile auteurs, and in the case of Tim Burton, that's sort of like someone who's made the Pee-wee film, and it's kind of they've recognised something in him. It's kind of like, right, you're doing this, and by the time this one come around, they said do it if you want. Zack Snyder had a lot of free reign making Man of Steel, and it seems like they had to kind of reverse that halfway through Justice League. But he was able. They hired him for who he was and what he does, for better or for worse. And Christopher Nolan, of course, as well. Like,
exactly.
He had a lot of control over those.
I would argue that Chris Nolan had the exact same thing happen to him, and I think that's what.
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, the difference is obviously he's Chris Nolan, and he's very good at doing what he does, but. I still argue, like, I think the elements of the few elements of The Dark Knight that don't work are because he wasn't constrained. He was, again, able to just, I won't call it masturbatory, but I mean, it is quite, and it's not even self-indulgent because he's a very disciplined filmmaker, but it's like, I feel like it lost something in the, I mean, like his 3 Batman films have very clear inspirations to them. And I know that The Dark Knight, he wanted to make more like Heat, and more like inspired by that kind of more stark Michael Mann crime drama thing. And it's like, yeah, but you established a thing in Batman Begins that I was really thrilled about and excited to see more of. And then it's like, no, you've kind of lost me in certain areas. It was a bit, but the difference is that he didn't go off into twaddle land. It was still it was a character centric film. It was like this says something about Batman, and that was the that was the core of it. So like you can't, he still put the characters first, whereas Burton in this, it's like, oh yeah, Batman or whatever. Then, but freaks are more interesting.
Well, it is a bit like, well, yeah, sure, Batman's in it, I guess. Like it's this really begrudging Batman film.
I believe because someone did, and I can't remember where I heard this, but there was like a thing done about someone with probably a very successful entrepreneur who just had a lot of time. Did or not did a compiled like basically a percentage of like which Batman films had Batman in the most and the least, and I think The Dark Knight Rises actually has the least amount of Batman in it of any Batman film.
So this is to not count Bruce Wayne in civilian identity. This is
Batman in costume as being Batman, right? But he said that part of the reason for that was the fact that the film is longer, like because it's a very long film, so it's like that. Therefore, kind of stretches things out. But it was still something like 12% of the time he's Batman, and then second was Batman and Robin. Weirdly enough, has the least amount.
Oh right, okay, I wouldn't have called that.
No, I wouldn't. See, there you
go. The Nolan ones, like, because I do really like them. I don't like Dark Knight Rises. I've never compelled to watch it. It's a stodgy, kind of boring film. I like the first two. I think you and I both come down on Batman Begins as the better of the first
I think
two.
So. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I will say this about those: like, as much as I like them, when they came out, I was striving. I really, really wanted the serious Batman because I was. Like, well, I think I was 20 and I just read all the kind of cool 80s Batman comics. I was like, Batman should be serious. Like, because it's very big and clever and grown up. Which is really good. But they're so fucking serious, those films. Particularly Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight. It's so po-faced, which is very, very, very in keeping with Michael Mann. Like Michael Mann stuff is so serious, so fucking serious all the time, and the Dark Knight is so serious, and that becomes unwittingly humorous in the third one because people start using all this really verbose, grandiose dialogue, talking about people running around in silly costumes. It's like, okay, you might have tipped that balance a bit too far.
Yeah, I do. I think it got a bit big for its britches, but I also understand they were hampered by Heath Ledger's death because it was like, and they were quite adamant that they weren't going to mention him or the Joker, and it's like, and then it becomes the sort of dent act, which I guess is where they could have gone anyway, but it's like you did need the Joker for this because it's all kind of set up for that. I don't know. I mean, I kind of think that it's fine. It's fine. Like you, I'm not really compelled to watch it all that much because if you want a Batman film, you're not really going to sit down and watch. That's more like a thesis on, like it's what is it? It's like hard will versus determination, whatever. It's just like there's so much pontificating going around in that film about like, like we will give them hope and then they will fail. And this is my grand plan. And then it's like at the end, it's just two people in silly costumes punching themselves in the face in the daylight. So it looks even more ridiculous. And it's just like, and one of them goes, go, Trigger. And it's like, what? Like, what is it? It still just descends.
And ultimately, it's some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
It turns
into the Adam West thing.
It's also that sort of melodrama of like Marion Cotillard, who could not, it's not her fault. She couldn't have played it any other way, but it's like, but it was not a girl, it was, not a man, it was a girl, or whatever, stabs him in the side or whatever. And it's just like, and you can't, there's no way to cover that's in any way kind of, it's just in close up, and it's so melodrama. It's so kind of kitchen sink.
And they say things like, "You are the child of Ra's al Ghul," and it's like, why is he speaking like that? The child of Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah,
like it's got this kind of cod Shakespearean. It's like, no, this is the man has pointy ears on. Let's not get carried away here. Like, I don't know. Whereas this is because this frustrates me because I do really like the Adam West style of things. I like the wacky stuff. I love the Brave and the Bold. The series of Dietrich Bader does a really nice Silver Age version of Batman. Mm-hmm. What kind of annoys me about this is because this is kind of humorous and wacky, but it's just taking place in someone's self-indulgent kind of mind palace.
Well, it's a shame because I think the sort of elements of it, I think the tone of it straddles the kind of serious, po-faced and comic book stuff really well. I just think it's the subject matter or it's the direction that he wants to take the characters that is just not in keeping. But I suppose when you think about it, I mean, the Penguin is a perfect example of this. It's like, I think he made a fairly indelible image of the Penguin. I think he managed to make a kind of screen Penguin that worked really well and did inform comics and stuff after this.
No, I agree with that.
I think it works really well. Danny DeVito is fantastic, of course. But it's like, when you look at the concept of all of it, if you've seen the concept art that he did for him, and it's like, Danny DeVito talks about that picture that he drew and sent to him, and it's like, my name is Jimmy, I'm a freak or whatever. And it was like, he was just going to call him Jimmy and stuff like that. And then it was like, that is the concept. So all the stuff about the Superman movie he was going to make, you have to understand, was at that stage. It wasn't that like this obviously ended up being like, no, it's much closer to what Penguin really is. It's just through that lens. It's just, and that's what concept is really. It's starting at 11, and then with the intention of fettling it down to 3 or something. But but you get the creative energy gets reduced down. That's usually the point. So it's kind of, I don't really break. I think the misgivings I have about this film aren't about even the tone necessarily, or which is what it got criticized a lot for, or the how close or not close it is to the comics. It's more about like you've sort of said, it's kind of like what one man wants to say about an entirely different subject, and he's crowbarred it in, and it's creaking at the seams with his kind of hubristic whatever.
Because he didn't enjoy doing the first one, right? He doesn't. I personally I'm way more forgiving than I used to be over comic book accuracy stuff. I don't really care. Tell us a good story. That's key if you're making a film. I mean, you can be completely egregious with that. I think that's what I still don't like about the Stallone Dredd films, because he doesn't get to do any Dredd stuff. Like Batman at least does Batman stuff in this a bit, but he's hardly in it. But yeah, it's as you say, he didn't like making the first one, and they gave him a shitload of money to come back the second one, complete creative control, and he went, well, I'm going to make a big pastiche of German Expressionism and Weimar cinema, and the fact it's a Batman film is Batman's problem, not mine. I'm just going to make all this
and that's the difference, isn't it, between him and Nolan? It's like Nolan wanted to make make a very heavily influenced thing, but it was still had to be a Batman film. So I think
it's a Michael Mann film second, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a Michael Mann film, and I remember there's a lot of that. There was a lot made of that at the time as well.
Brad says, sorry, I just wanted to read it. He said, I was here, Duncan. I had melted butter over my hands from the lovely sesame seeds bagels I'm treating myself to this fine Thursday eve. Therefore, couldn't type a response until I'd washed my grubby mitt. And then he put underneath, he goes, that was exactly 200 characters. It's like, I'm proud of it. Fair enough. Good for you.
Brad sounds like someone.
Brad.
Brad spent a lot of time on a plane. That's what happens.
Bagels on a plane.
Bagels on a plane.
He's had it with these motherfucking bagels on this motherfucking plane.
I mean, that is our level of budget if we were to make
bagels
on a plane movie. Yeah, I think the plane might be a stretch. I do have quite a robust green screen.
How many times, actually, if you've ever been on a plane and been given a choice of what food you're going to have, would you? I think I'd go for the steak. So I could have steak on a plane.
On a plane. I wonder which national cuisine includes snake. So you could have snake on a plane.
That's true. The sort of Thai.
Sure, why not?
I don't know. Don't they? Vietnamese airlines would have Cobra or whatever on it.
I just know when I eat the in-flight meal, I'm going to ruin the day of anyone who's travelling with me, because it's just going to give me farts, the worst farts in the whole world for the rest of the rest of the time you're going to spend with me. So there you go. That's my true story. I've forgotten what planes are like, because that's not allowed anymore.
Yes. I know, it's weird to have not been on one.
I filmed at the airport again this week. I saw some aircraft departing and arriving.
Brad knows what it's like to be on a plane, don't you, Brad?
Cunt. Sending us pictures of his beautiful fucking destination where he's been.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's Selena Kyle in this. Sorry, I should probably talk about the film. Selena, I mean, I really like the costume. The Catwoman costume all stitched together. I think it's a really cool look. It's a really, really good look. Mm-hmm. Michelle Pfeiffer is great. This is a very kind of expressionistic film and stuff. So her falling out of a window, getting licked by cats. Okay, I mean, she doesn't really need to have. She's not Spider-Man. She doesn't need to have. And I'm still not sure. I get it as a kind of. I get it. It's an abstract thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really fit with anything else in this universe at all.
Yeah.
But it's an abstract thing about being licked by cats, and the reason she's Catwoman is because she has and likes cats.
Well, yeah, it's like the cats brought her back to life. There is a film. You must know this as a film stage. What's the Catwoman? The the Incredible something for Catwoman or what's that film called? There is a anyway. I don't know if that's what he's drawing inspiration from, but there is a sort of like women and cats, and they draw strength from them, and the sort of the feminine and the feline. And
yeah, what is that? I think that's just called Cat People, isn't it? Or is that?
No, there's what it's called the 60-foot Catwoman. I can't remember what it's called. It's sort of weird. Anyway, the brief unit I did on film studies, we looked at it. And it's a very strange film. But she's yeah, I mean it is abstract, but to introduce that, as you say, into a thing, and it's like this kind of thing where it's like everyone feels like they have to tether it, that there has to be an origin, like there's a reason why, and it's like, and then she's given 9 lives effectively.
Yeah, like, and she like lands in kitty litter and stuff, and at
yeah,
no point is she seen licking her own anus. Yeah, coming from Big Kitty Litter Inc. as it does, you know.
Yeah, because we have that. Whenever we chuck out our cat litter, it has to go into a specific...
Oh, well, the Batman universe has nationalised cat litter, and I guess that was from the cat litter mine, and they deliver it to everyone's house.
Well, Max Schreck's shop, because basically Max Schreck in this, it's like he's built up to... He's talked about like he's this billionaire industrialist, but it's like he owns a department. So he's basically John Andor Lewis, isn't he? Like he's...
John Andor Lewis.
He's John
Lewis.
Kind
of... Films of this era love doing versions. I hate to say this now because people just go, nah. But people around this time, the versions of Donald Trump as villains in films happened all the time. And because he was a very prominent in New York kind of business guy that people didn't like. That's just a fact. I don't give a shit about the politics or whatever. It's just a fact. And this is kind of a take on that. But again, with the German expressionist shit shoehorned into it. And it's talked up. But yeah, as far as we can tell, his main thing is his department store, which looks like the poster to Metropolis.
Yeah,
because of course it does.
Yeah. And it's got a big cat face on the front of it.
Yes,
it's not like his thing is cats, is it? You know,
no,
he's not going like cats. I love cats. It's like it's just I got a big cat on the front, because Catwoman, and then his grand plan is to build a bunch of power plants that'll actually be sucking power from Gotham City, and it's like right, but. Then
Step 3 equals question mark. Step 4 equals profit.
Again, another Christopher Walken evil villain plan that doesn't make sense. Just like in A View to a Kill, which was his whole thing was like, we're gonna cause an earthquake, Mayday, and flood Silicon Valley so those pricks can't make any more microchips, and then we'll have all the microchips. And it's like, yeah, but who are you gonna sell them to? Because you've just killed Silicon Valley.
You just destroyed the tech sector.
It's like Sean Bean's thing in GoldenEye. It's like, oh, we're gonna fuck up London and we're gonna like.
Hello, 007. It's me, Trevelyan.
He's just got like braces over his like whatever he's like all the time.
I don't know much about this fancy spy business. I know an honest, good day's work.
Yeah, he's got like this steam. The GoldenEye's running like a steam engine in space.
Full of racing pigeons.
Fred Dibner or whatever. So but his whole thing is like he's going to detonate an EMP over London, and that's going to wipe out all financial records, which will allow him then to steal all the money. And it's like, and spend it where? Because you've just destroyed the financial heart of England. It's like, well, that's going to devalue all the money you're stealing to a. What are you talking? And then and then you're going to steal it electronically. Like they're not going to know where it is. It's just that all that stuff just is ridiculous. And it's the same thing here. It's like that's such a shoehorned in thing. It's like, well, I discovered a thing where you're going to be making power plants or whatever, but instead of supplying power, they're going to be stealing power. And it's like, and like, what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything.
You've uninvented power plants.
Yeah. Anyway,
we've got as they say in Germany, ein Superchat.
Yeah,
probably. Mark Flanagan says, "What is your experience of Batman in the comics? Does it extend beyond Frank Miller?" Would you like to go first, or will I go first?
I'll go first because mine will be shorter. So my experience with Batman in the comics is very slapdash, very piecemeal. Read bits and bobs as I was growing up. So I don't have a great frame of reference. I have read The Dark Knight Returns, and I do think it's good. I'm a sort of champion for this, really by dint of the fact that I haven't read that many others. So, but I really like Batman Year 2. It's very, very drawn upon as a point of influence for a lot of things, including Mask of the Phantasm and stuff like that, but not referenced. Like, people don't say they're referencing it, and yet very clearly it's informing a lot of what goes on. So I really like that. I really like that comic. There you go. Have a banana. What about you?
Yeah, I'm looking at my shelf here because I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
I'm looking at my shelf here.
I'm looking at my shelf. The one that, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Jeff Loeb. Really great, and that's been widely drawn upon. Not the hugest Batman fan, but there's stuff like the Grant Morrison stuff, Batman and Robin, where Dick Grayson was Batman. I kind of dug. I read some of the Scott Snyder stuff. Alan Moore, of course, did a few bits of Batman that I've read a lot of. Alan Grant, who was like co-writer on Judge Dredd in the 1980s, he went over to America and exclusively wrote Batman for fucking ages. So I read like the Alan Grant stuff, and he invented remember the ventriloquist guy? Mm-hmm. He was like a rejected Dredd villain that they took over to Batman, and now he's a Batman villain. What was the Grant Morrison one about the spooky cathedral? I can't remember the name of. He's looking at his shelf. What a fun stream.
Brad Watson says, "Oh, it's that 6 minutes till bomb explodes."
Which
is a GoldenEye reference, because he actually means 3 minutes, because that's how long James Bond says
for England, James.
For England, James.
For England.
No.
Batman Gothic by Grant Morrison. That's cool. That's about like Gotham Cathedral being a kind of infernal place. Like, so here's the cats, because what happened is she died, and she likes cats.
So they all showed up.
Yeah. And that's how you have a cat. I think this does a little bit of a disservice to Selena Kyle, because like Selena Kyle is like super capable kind of criminal, street level criminal, right? What she is. And in this, she's just sort of a schmuck until she gets licked by cats, and then she becomes, because she's all cool and sexy and sultry, right? And that performance as Catwoman is really cool.
This again speaks to the people who don't know what and don't want to spend the time understanding what the characters are, because it's like, oh, she's. I get it. They're sort of basically going for a thing of, so she's going to represent not girl power. That's woefully underrepresenting. You know what I mean? She's representing kind of like an awakening of womanhood in a previously sort of. Not cloistered.
Yeah, she's a stereotype kind of put upon repressed women, and then she's able to come out of herself and embrace her own sexuality and consensuality.
Exactly. But it's sort of like, I mean, yes, Catwoman is a character that you can say things like that with, but not like that's not, you know, she wasn't a secretary. She was, like you say, she's a jewel thief. She's the costume isn't really even, and by all accounts with Zoe Kravitz, like it looks like they're kind of like, the costume is sort of becoming even more incidental. I mean, it was kind of like that with Anne Hathaway's one. It was like, oh, actually, the goggles look like ears on her head. And it's like, but also she's got this super, like, custom-made costume. And she's this sort of, but she's also living in a loft apartment with her mate. And it's like, so she's loaded. So she made
Now's not the time to rein that in, because the film's called Batman and it has a Batman in it. Now's not the time to go kind of like, well, she's a bit like a cat. And it's like, no, she's Catwoman. Don't.
Yeah, I know. And it's
now's not the time.
I know. And it's like, she's a cat burglar, boss. That's interesting, Alfred. She's a Catwoman. No one said Catwoman. Shut up. Go away. But she's, because I always thought like, oh, those goggles were like Wayne tech or something, like she'd stolen Wayne tech or something. But it's never explained what those goggles are. Like, you never see first person through them. You don't know why she has them on. Are they night vision? Do they show her?
So they can do one shot of her in silhouette and go, they're a bit like hers.
Yeah, she doesn't.
These movies love people on steps, don't they? People doing lecterns on steps are what these first two movies are all about.
Santa Claus, afraid not. That's his big speech. Because it's all about the run for mayor. And the Penguin runs for mayor, which I gather is a thing that happened in the 60s Batman TV show as well.
Right, I can believe that. I think. I mean, I think they've done some of the more recent looks for Catwoman, because the figure-hugging sort of sexy rubber thing, I think this film is quite influential in. But quite often now she wears goggles like pulled up on her head, but she actually has cat ears, obviously. But I quite like, you know, when it's sort of a little bit tactical, it still needs to look like a ridiculous sexy cat lady because it's from a Batman comic, but having a few like pouches and holsters and stuff to make it look like she does cat burgling as well.
Oh, totally. I think actually, if anything, the Catwoman costume lends itself more to being kind of strung together, and because it is, you know, it is. That's the point, isn't it? It's like she's done it out of kind of utility rather than, and then the kind of cat ears. I mean, looking at the Zoe Kravitz thing, the brief glimpse we get of it, it's almost like again, the ears are incidental because it's almost like a pillowcase. So it's got corners because it's like a pillowcase.
Yeah, no, that brief flash was in the thing. It looked like, I remember, bless her, this old lady who used to live on our street used to like knit us toys.
Right.
That's what that reminded me of. Yes. It's like a knitted Ninja Turtle that this sweet old lady would bring round. Right, it's like a little wonky, but it's lovely because someone made it.
Yeah.
I found a baby. I glossed over this a bit, but Paul Rubens plays his dad in the opening.
Yes, yeah.
He played Cobblepot's dad in Gotham as well.
Oh, very good.
It's a bit of crazy. I love Gotham. Gotham was brilliant because it started off thinking it was so serious, and it went so crazy and was so definitely terrible that I just had to keep watching it. Like, it was just like. To me, that was weird that I saw Michael Keaton's face. It was like, I forgot he's in this.
Right.
Well,
this is the first time I've really seen, apart from him standing up in the bat symbol earlier. It's like this is the first time you've seen it, and it is set at Christmas. I mean, that's bringing it back round. We're on brand. But I love that you got Alfred decorating the tree in the background and stuff like that. I do. Don't get me wrong. Like, again, it's like you can pick holes in this as far as sort of being comic accurate, but actually, I do love the interplay between him and Michael Gough. I do like Michael Keaton. I don't know if that's just because he's enigmatic and fun to watch, or if
he's a wonderful actor. I think he's really great. I mean, I used to always be kind of like, oh shit, it's Batman. I've never been mad about him as Batman. I always liked him as Bruce Wayne, which is a bit of a cliche. But he's great. Like, I love him in anything he's in. I'm just sort of like, yeah, I'll watch that because he's just magnetic. I think he's a really great performer.
Michael Keaton's real name is?
Oh, hold on. I know this. It is. Michael Douglas.
Yes, there you go.
That's Ricky. I don't have to do risky quizzes next week now. We're off.
It's done. Yeah, that's my little. It's my only bit of trivia that I know.
See, like the Hall of Records, like that fascia, like that. That's amazing design. That's incredible. Yeah. Like, it's really cool. Like the words etched out of the stone. It's probably, I guess, like foam or plaster or something. But like it looks amazing.
Big plaster, I think. This was done at the Warner Brothers studio, right? Because the first one was at Pinewood and Shepperton. Which has kind of been Batman's unofficial home, really, because I know Nolan did most of the stuff there, and filming he did exteriors in Chicago and various American cities, but he did all the interiors, and more, I think, for the first and third. So for Begins and for Rises, he used those Zeppelin hangars at Darlington, which is not far from here. Actually, I go past it sometimes if I'm going down the I want him. Which is a boring thing. God, British roads are boring names. The A3025. Fucking hell. Anyway, but they're huge. You can't miss them. They're giant. There were Zeppelin hangars, and one of them's been turned into basically a film studio. So that's where they built all the Narrows and stuff. That's where in Batman Begins he's going along under the train by the cable and stuff, and they blow all the all the steam out. And that was all it built inside a hangar basically. And then for Rises they built the big sets for the pit and the sewer set for where he has a fight with Bane. So it's kind of because they wanted
right. That makes sense. Sure,
they wanted them to be tall. Yeah, and I gather they filmed there for the new Batman film as well, because someone was saying I think they built a cathedral or something set in there, so that's kind of cool.
Right, Glasgow as well. There's been many Batman sightings in.
Which is great. Yeah, really, really great. So Batman
lends itself to
always had a kind of spiritual home here, but this one they went all out. It was all America. It was fully on the Warner Brothers lot.
The Keaton. Hold on. Keaton? What's the? Because the Wayne Wayne Manor from Batman '89 is Nebworth House in Hertfordshire, which is just down the road. And I think the Batman Begins one was that in Hearts as well? Buckinghamshire. Mentmore Towers in Buckinghamshire was there. But Nebworth is just down the road. And where Oasis played a famous gig once. Oh, I like them because they're rubbish. Anyway,
I always like the fact as well. Like in Batman Begins, there's a bit where it kind of cuts with because they're sort of in pains when they show Wayne Manor. It's always looking at it, but there's one reverse shot where he's having a chat with Katie Holmes after it's burnt down. And you see behind her, and it's just the rolling hills of England. You can see, cars driving. I mean, anyone who lives here recognises it.
It's got that kind of flat, bleak.
It's the same. Yeah, well, it's the same thing. Well, it's hilly, but it's still very clearly England. It's like that time when Tom Cruise hung off a plane, and it was here. And it's like when I look behind, it's supposed to be Budapest or whatever. It's like you look at the road, people are driving on the left. There's probably like fish and chips lying around everywhere. You know what I mean? It's just so
fish. There's pearly kings and jellied eel factories everywhere,
spewing out their fishy guff into the air. Yeah.
Fishy guff. If you've never been here, that's what it's like. It's just fishy guff.
It is.
And Sean Bean on an iron bicycle, operating the GoldenEye satellite. Hey, by gum, I want to barefoot blades. That's my reference to When Saturday Comes, in which Sean Bean plays an aging steelworker who's able to play for whichever football team is nicknamed the Blades. I've seen it. Can you imagine? I accidentally watched a football film.
This bit, look, when he kneels down, you see all the like.
Land did it? Didn't like that.
No. You see all I'm only grabbing this opportunity because it's like it's the thing I know.
No, you really should talk about the film.
When he kneels down, when he lands on his knees, like you see all the snow fall off the top of the artificial snow fall off the top of the gravestone, and because it's made of cardboard and not really sunk into the ground properly.
Right. Right. Okay.
Set. Yeah, there are moments in this where it's like, oh, that's a bit wobbly or whatever, but it's kind of like, you know. Look at all that smoke as well. That's such a Tim Burton thing. So I know on Dark Shadows.
Kind of volumetric lighting. Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, he's got a look. Undeniably, he's got a look. Like there's, the Tim Burton look, and it's widely copied. Mm-hmm. I just kind of think, particularly at this point in his career, where he's just fucking repeating himself, and it's kind of like, oh, good. There's going to be stripy things. Someone's going to be misunderstood by society or their parents. And there's going to be circus music by Danny Elfman. And it's just like, well, this is an adaptation of the popular soap Neighbours. But it's set in a haunted fairground.
Nobody here's good friends around here.
Oh, Bouncer, why are you a black and white octopus whose parents are disappointed in it all the time because he wants to be an artist? That's Where's Carley?
You should be accepting of everyone, you fucking prick.
You fucking prick.
I'm gonna go home and cry myself to sleep on my 8-legged pillow. You fucking prick.
Oh my god.
That's when, but like, but that's when good neighbors. Church organ. Yeah. That's about right. I mean, look, I remember. So I went and saw Dark Shadows because, of course, I did because I really wanted to see if I could see myself, which I could. And actually, it's on Netflix or something, and I pulled it up the other day and totally narcissistically found my bit again, and I was like, I didn't realize just how close. I mean, this sounds really pervy actually now that I said, but how close I was to Eva Green. Like I was literally right next to her. Like
I could smell her. That level of close.
Yeah, you sound like multiple Migs in Silence of the Lambs. I won't repeat all the line. And that's not true. But and I did have a chat with her on that, and she's really nice.
Oh! Look who it is.
Brad R. Watson sent us £5. Brad, stop sending us money.
Oh. Did you see who Catwoman just beat up?
Oh,
El Scorpio is ready.
Is that who that is?
It is. Yeah, I can never remember his name. He's in Last Action Hero as well.
Yeah,
he's one of those stunt guy all the time stunt guys.
Brad just sent us £5, so thank you very much, Brad. This film is cinema in capitals, breathtaking to experience in the cathedral of the big screen, not made for self-importance. To critique on their laptops. They're spelt THERE, which I think was done in a hurry because on their laptops. Are you referring to laptops? Over there.
I think Brad's been drinking. Good on you, Brad.
Cheers, Brad.
This is what I like about Brad.
Yeah.
Right.
What
Brad
don't you like about Brad?
No. Well, precisely.
His grammar.
That's part of his grammar.
Yeah.
No, but Brad is the most. I've said this before. Brad's the most intensely positive person, and like everything. Because when we hang out, I'm always shitting on everything, and Brad's always going, "No, look at this. This is the good thing you should look at." Except for when he's not, which is very rare. And 1 in 100 times, he'll just be like, "That's fucking shit," and like all the
when he takes against
gone.
something.
When he takes against something, and it's always really unexpected. It's usually something fairly innocuous, and he'll just fucking go in on it.
I remember him stamping about the BFI on my birthday, talking about Fantastic Beasts not being he'll probably say not being a British film or something, and it won BAFTAs for best British film.
I'd say all the Harry Potter stuff's like that, isn't it?
That sticks in his craw, which I can understand. He's not wrong You know, it's just funny. Like you say, he's just most of the time so happy. Apart from that and the Meg, obviously, if you bring up the Meg, you get a cold shouldered reception from
what did he say? I sort of want that as a kind of, if we had a poster, well, we do have a poster, that could be the quote. Self-important Nancy boys. I mean, yeah.
I'll take it. That's fine. Val Verde Broadcasting, self-important Nancy boy. The opinions of self-important Nancy boy.
Yeah, on their laptops. Yeah.
On their laptops.
Duncan is not letting that one go.
I'm sorry.
Good numbers tonight, by the way. We've been looking at sort of 148 at the moment.
Very good.
Cheers, everybody.
Yeah,
welcome to this Christmas stream.
Welcome. Oh, you're right.
I just did Christmas gas.
Bruce Wayne, born to the manor born with the silver spoon. I just farted. Excuse me.
Oh.
I would clear out if I were you. It was sauerkraut last night.
Sauerkraut.
Because I'm German, you see. It's fine.
It smells like duck food. That's why I can't do the thing. You do the thing where he goes all gruff. I can do the kind of like, ow, look, that, crap impression. You do this sort of, when it goes down.
Because actually, he is, I said this to a New Yorker, actually, and they were like, yeah, you're right. He is very new. He's just very New York with that thing. So, but if you speak to like he is, yeah, it's that sort of, I don't know, really where it is or what's going on. It's just a little bit over the top.
Yeah, that's what I can't do that.
Go down there, and then up here, but down there. It's levels. That's all it is. It's like Terry Wogan.
Can't get the low part. Can't get the low part.
Gravelly.
Oh, Wogan. I need to. I'm gonna find a way to utilize your Wogan.
Mine's not very good because every time I look at
it is.
No, because every time I check out Sarah Fenowich, I'm
Sarah
like,
Fenowich. Yeah, well, that's like God tier Wogan, but yours is not far off.
But I'm not like, I was never like into it. Mine's purely like just made up. Like it's not studied in any way, which is not like my Ken Bruce. Ken Bruce is kind of I fettled that. I like my.
I particularly like not Ken Bruce. You're Ken Bruce. When you do Ken Bruce and Wogan, there's like a bunch of Americans that are just like
the numbers drop significantly. I've never heard of that guy.
Which we're too busy chasing that sweet Ken Bruce dollar.
Yeah,
when you try to capture a young audience. What do they like? They like Ken Bruce. They like jellied eels. They like spam. They like listening to things on the wireless.
They like going to the museum and looking at
going to the museum. They like going to the pictures. They like Vera Lynn.
Yes.
They like Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men. They like collecting their mum's stubs from their ration books. They like playing. They like playing on bomb sites.
They like
that's what kids like.
This shot, I will come back to that because that was very funny. I don't want to lose that. This shot's really good. It's very old school, with the kind of foreground and background in focus with the kind of blurred line down.
What's the split diopter?
There you go. I knew there'd be a word for it. That's it. That sounds like a sex move, but we'll go with
split diopter sounds like a painful. Yeah, I threw my back out doing a split diopter.
Yeah. Hey guys, I think she's up for a split diopter.
You guys like movies? You want to buy a film with a split diopter? Go to Amsterdam, smoke some weed, buy some tulips, have a split diopter, get a quick test to make sure nothing growing on your belly, and then go home on your ferry. All the Dutch numbers, we put in big Dutch numbers, they've all gone.
We have dropped to 144, so I do think there's some truth to that.
I would like to make a correction, actually, in light of doing something very distasteful. A person from the Netherlands would not say Belen, they say Glange. It's that classic Val Verde comedy that people like.
You can't buy anywhere else. Now, Jay Weatherford has sent us $5 US dues. Would you like to read it out since you are...
Whenever I see the video as a penguin, I always think of Frank from Always Sunny singing Don't Diddle Your Kids song. Cheers. I don't watch. I should do that properly. Whenever I see DeVito as the Penguin, I always think of Frank from Always Sunny singing the "Don't Do the Kids" song. Because DeVito's in Always Sunny. I've only seen a bit of Always Sunny, so I don't.
I think I watched part of the first episode and kind of wasn't. I didn't think it was bad, but I just wasn't. It wasn't my. I wasn't set up to watch it.
The bits I've seen, it was very, very, very good to see. Like DeVito was hilarious. Like for bits I've seen, he plays like this really insane, trashy dude. And I think there's one with Roddy Piper where they set up their own wrestling thing, and his gimmick is a trash man, so he eats rubbish off the floor.
Right. Okay.
He plays like this really grotty, mad.
Because hasn't he said like publicly, he's like, I'm basically going to just do that now and then retire.
Did he? Right. Okay.
But I think he has done some other stuff. But we love DeVito. Like I've always loved him.
Man, he's awesome. Someone just asked for a time code. We're just past, where are you, kind of 49:10 right now?
Exactly there, yes.
Yeah, okay, that was good timing from me.
This guy, not a lot of reflective surfaces in the sewer. Oh, he's so good, man. Like, I mean, you can't. The
makeup's cool as well. Really. It's that dirty long john that he wears all the time.
I know, it's like so deliberately filthy as well, and it's like, and that's another thing. That's a subversion, I suppose, because it's like the Penguin was supposed to be the kind of aristocrat, like, you know, until that point he was just a sort of
that squirt of blood.
Yeah. I just he was the way he goes like, could be worse. My nose could be gushing blood. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, and yet they're still gonna make him mayor. Look, I love the way as well. The costume is like, it's a filthy onesie with a fucking what's it called? Oh, I've run out.
Oh, the kind of the tuxedo bib thing.
No, with a wedgie. That's what.
Yeah.
Like his ass is like. And he's a little pervert as well because he's perving over the world. You know what I mean? Like, he's just intensely unlikable, but it's like, you know, he's just...
Yeah, it's so extra evil, wasn't it?
Yeah.
People are saying which is better, Always Sunny or Community. They're saying Always Sunny because they're wrong. It's Community.
I don't know what any of those things are.
Duncan agrees with me. I'm voting for him. No, I'm not. I recently read... and I don't know if it's true, that owing to their height difference, this is such a great fact, if you could call it a fact. I read it in like a fitness thing. Owing to their height difference, and this is not a risky quiz, this thing, owing to their height difference, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito have the same percentage body fat. Which was stated as a fact in a factual thing. I don't know if it's true, but it's one of those things I really want to be true. It's
that
like
wouldn't
really
be
brilliant.
that doesn't make sense though. They couldn't have the same percentage. They could have the same amount. It's just distributed differently over Schwarzenegger than because he's bigger. But if they had the same percentage, they would look the same. Because just Arnold would have that doesn't make sense.
But surely there's differently shaped skeletons and stuff because he's very short.
Yeah, but the percentage would. It's a ratio. It's not a no. DeVito would still be ripped because he'd have 2% body fat, or whatever. No. So they could have the same amount, the same pound.
No, he looks like that. That's his real body. That's one of those. I really wanted that to be true. Like, it must be the same amount then, not percentage, like you say. It must be.
Yeah.
Even so, that might be bollocks, but I was just sort of like, that's amazing. Like, that's
I've
really
got two Danny
thing.
DeVitos with the body fat, and they still look fantastic. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Come on. Any excuse to get... they blew up that lovely gingham dining set.
What was it I found out that Schwarzenegger was supposed to be cast in recently that I didn't know, and we'd just done a live stream on it? Was it The Rock? It might have been The Rock. I can't remember if Schwarzenegger was supposed to play the Connery role. I think it might be the Connery
nice.
role.
God, Michael, I can't imagine Bay and Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of it choreographed stuff with these clowns, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, I do like all that. Like, you can see Keaton, though. You can see the problem with the oft, like all too oft discussed issue with the cowl in this scene, because it's like he just says "fuck it" obviously at points and turns his head, and it's like the whole mouth is like ah. But it's a good fight scene, and it's kind of like, apart from that, where he just ducks and turns around, and it's like, that's what a child would do.
Well, this is the thing, because he's supposed to. Your Batman should at least be able to fight at the very minimum.
Yeah.
He should be able to fight. He's Batman. That's all I'm asking.
And the way it goes like bip, 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 on that thing, and it's like it's got like 2 buttons. What are you doing? Like, what are you programming into that? Like,
didn't they release? I think they released an LCD game on a Batarang like that.
Oh, did they? Okay,
like that, yeah. Because these are legendarily kind of merchandise. What was the story? Now let's get this straight. Because I think Brad's still around. He hinted at this earlier. Wasn't it that Burger King was supposed to do the toys for this, but refused when they saw it? But then McDonald's did it instead, or something like that, or was it the other way around? It was one of the fast food providers refused to do it when they saw the movie, and then I think one of the other ones picked up the slack, as I remember.
Because I gather with Forever now, actually, interestingly, I'm wondering if this is the UK cut or the US cut, because this is going to cause issues for people in the US, and I've just realised this.
Perhaps these things seem to standardise over time. Weirdly,
well, they do, and I'm interested to see, because I know one of the things that was cut here was so in this the way Catwoman blows up Shrek's department store is that she takes a bunch of aerosol cans, puts them in the microwave, and then goes off, and that was cut here because they thought kids would do it or whatever, that caused problems. Like when I bought the special edition DVDs for this. This was the only one that didn't have a director's commentary because of that. They just left the track off because it was like, well, he'd commented on the US cut, and that obviously then caused time issues, so they just left it off our version of it. But yeah, there's a bit where like she puts, and it's like kind of like, I think people like microwave safety.
But the BBFC that BBFC, because they used to take out every possible nunchuck scene because they thought you could enter a nunchuck, anything you could imitate they really hated. Because the American cut as well has a scene where Danny DeVito splays his cheeks and shows his anus to camera whilst Michael Keaton sings a song called "Cunt, Cunt, Cunt, Fuck Them in the Cunt," and it was a 10-minute long scene, one take.
With Christopher Walken harmonising.
Christopher Walken is swabbing his own urethra.
Yeah, because you see it here. You see the open. So like they showed this, like her ripping the thing off the gas thing and putting the. Yeah. Look, no. Okay. So this is the US cut. Look, she puts them in the microwave.
Yeah. All these things have standardised now, haven't they?
There you go. There you go.
In the age of streaming. Because this is fantastic. I always remember this is a great trailer shot. It blows up and she flips out, and then she flips out and goes like, "Did you say meow?" And then it boom, blows up.
Both Batman and Penguin are standing there, and that's another thing. It's like the woman, sort of the. Do I want to say this? Probably not. I guess she's. It's so hard these days to know what to say. Basically,
okay.
I'm already making this worse than it is. It's the kind of Jordan Peterson thing of like she's chaos. I don't want to say what I agree with or what I don't agree with, but it's that thing of like woman, chaos, men, order. She comes, because she's anarchic and she blows up a thing, and there's the two.
Yeah, he also thinks human society is.
I'm not. No, let's not go off. I don't mean it like that. I probably shouldn't have used him as an example, but it's that old archetypal thing. It's the two male authority figures and the anarchic female authority figure.
Or as they said in the 90s, bitches be crazy.
Well, yeah, okay. Sorry. That was a poor, I shouldn't have used. That's too divisive a fucking thing to bring up on the internet. I don't know. I was trying to, what was this? It's not even intellectualizing. It's just, you know what I mean? Anyway. He's so obviously on a track there, like on this built-in.
No. See, this is because we talked about, because this one really leans in on all the statue stuff, and it's something that Joel Schumacher's films continued and went really mental with, all the kind of like Gotham, like because like in the fourth one, they're like going round. They have that big chase, and like it's like a Hot Wheels track. Like,
yeah, no, they drive through the observatory and down an arm of this like big statue that's holding the observatory and drive down the arm.
And it's like a computer game. It's like a Mario Kart level or something. They do that. It's
yeah. Everyone's cancelling me now in the comments. I didn't say
Duncan's cancelled.
I didn't say I agree with it.
Hashtag cancelled Duncan.
Let's disagree or agree. I'm just saying it's a recent example of something. For fuck's sake.
Don't cancel Duncan, because I'll be stuck at her on my own, and I can't do that. That sounds like hard work. Cancel us both at least. I mean,
Andrew K.
Unless it's for noncing, in which case it's all his fault.
Andrew Capix, who I now know to be Andrew K. because I'm clever like that. Said in the US, violence is good, nudity is evil. Yeah, because I always remember that all the cuts were like reversed here, so we got all boobies and stuff, but we
got all the tits, but none of the blood. When I first time I went to the States, I watched Die Hard on AMC or something in the middle of the afternoon, and all the gun bloody stuff was in there, but the bit where you see the girl's boobs was gone. But like the guy getting shot in the crotch and all the blood and guts was still there. Right. It's like, oh, that's weird. Okay.
I'm just checking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go on.
I'm just sorry. I'm just going through PayPal very quickly because we've.
Had great, lovely. Thank you.
So I just wanted to address those. My dad's. Michael Small. We'll start with him. Sorry, Dad. I'll get you in a sec. Michael Small said it's £10. Thank you, Michael Small, very much. Not a small donation. So there you go. He goes large. Evening, lads.
Thank you, Michael.
Have either of you seen the classic British horror film The Quatermass Experiment? Carpenter claims it's a huge influence.
Yes, they're different. Fleming did a version of Quatermass.
My dad and I watched it the other night, and it was fucking terrifying. Okay, now you. Sorry.
I really think, guys, we should cancel Duncan for all the terrible things he said about women. Sorry, I did interrupt. They did a version of, because Quatermass, they did a version, originally it was broadcast live, it's one of those old things, but BBC4 did a version with your mate Jason Fleming as Quatermass.
Oh, very good.
That was live.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I should check that out. Awesome.
Yeah.
My dad sent us £10. He says, what a shame Long Kiss was outvoted. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I agree, because I would have loved to have done that, because I do like that film. I know it's not great, but...
It's cool. It's a cool movie.
Annalise Moskland, as always, very kindly sent us $5 dues of the US.
$5 dues, mate. Thank you.
US variety.
US.
I need the knife, John. Clicker, cluecker. Sent us $5 dues. It's a little late to the party. But glad to have made it. Just submitted my second visa application, so I was off sacrificing a goat for luck. Very good. Well, you know what? We'll be lucky to have you. Thank you very much for
sensible goat sacrificing.
Indeed, we do. Yeah. We do love you. So thank you very much.
We dollary do love you.
Oh my god. What was I going to say? I can't remember. Everyone's still cancelling me that I see in the chat. Oh no, Phil Robb wants to save me. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, there you go.
See, we got Paul Rizzo says good day from Melbourne, Australia, fellas, off the back of all those ridiculous accents we just done. Does his poster? I keep trying to get a good. Yeah, see, I don't think it's necessarily quite the case here because I've got a good look at it. But there are a few films around this era when the character is represented in a drawing or a poster. The drawing or poster is comics accurate, but the character on screen isn't.
Well, and it's a really the Joker, didn't they, in the first one? There's that brief moment where he kind of pops up on screen like the '60s thing with the like, and it's like that. They did that with the sort of comic accurate Joker, as if it was sort of an in-world graphic representation of what the Joker looked like. Which I guess is what they've kind of done. But that's more brutalist, like propaganda.
Oh, I could take that. Yeah, it's kind of like sort of a constructivist type thing. Like if certain, I can't think of examples, which is no good for what we're doing. But yeah, sometimes the character has like they pull out their ID card. It's a picture of them in like cartoon form, how they looked in the original thing, and it's like, what are you doing? What does that mean? Like, what is this?
Yeah. I know it is a bit like that's one of those sort of things that I guess in when you're making a film feels like a throwaway thing that people probably won't notice, but it'll be a nice nod for the fans. But then when it's really obvious on the screen, you're like, well, everyone saw that.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's a different era now, isn't it, as well? Because now there's this expectation. All this stuff is so mainstream. There's an expectation of you to know it all. Like like knowing this shit when this came out, knowing about this stuff was for losers.
Yeah,
and you'd get the piss taken out of you for knowing this shit. And now it's kind of expected, and they sell the T-shirts in fucking Asda and Primark and whatever, and it's totally mainstream, which is weird.
Funnily enough, I mean, you said that this film, I was never allowed to watch these films as a kid because my mum had a very sort of puritanical view of things. And my dad, bless him, he used to sneak me off and we'd watch like Terminator and stuff. That's why I have fond memories of those films. But anyway, this was one that I used to go around my mate Simon's and watch because his dad had it, and his dad was well into Batman and he had all the comics and stuff like that. And they were kind of one of those families. But like you say, at the time, I mean, this would have been like late 80s, early 90s, I guess. It was right around when this came out. So actually, it was probably like early 90s, like 92, 93, something like that. when I was like 9 or 10. I used to have to go around his house to sort of indulge in Batman stuff, and I would always be like, please can we watch Batman Returns, please can we watch Batman Returns. And I think they used to get really fed up with me because I just wanted to watch that. Also because I wasn't allowed to watch it at home, so I was like and then watch this thing and like look at his Batman comics and stuff.
I don't even like this kid, but I like his dad's Batman shit.
yeah. So that was it. But yeah, so that's kind of this film was a kind of forbidden thing I wasn't allowed to watch for the longest time, and none of it was because my mum had this thing where it was like it's all very sinister, she used to say, and I was like, welcome to Batman, but she was like, no, it's, Jack Nicholson's nasty, and it's like, what's he supposed to be like? He's supposed to run up and give you a hug, like what? It's the joke. I suppose,
was she kind of comparing it to the Adam West one? Or?
I guess, I don't know. Yeah, because I suppose because I was allowed to watch that, of course. But it was a bit like
because that was it, wasn't it? Do you remember there was that time when that was Batman, and we all loved it as little kids, and then we were all too being like, when you're like 7, it's like, no, it's for babies, and then this was out or whatever, or I suppose sort of 8, 9, 10, but
the animated series I was well into. That was
I had to watch that in secret. I had to watch that in secret with that as well, because I'd have the piss taken out of me for watching that. So much cartoons, baby, and it's just
like you say, all those dickheads who said that then now are well into it and think it's
they've all got they go down the gym and have Batman tattoos and shit and fucking Heath Ledger posters in their houses or whatever.
Yeah.
Adam Thornton merely gives £5 with no comment. God bless you. Cheers, man. I'll drink to that. Thank you very much. Do you think, I sort of wonder with these, because as I understand it, because Dark Knight Returns was such a big success, Warner Brothers sort of wanted to do that, and they approached the Coens and stuff, and there was talk about Clint Eastwood as Dark Knight Batman and stuff, and it ended up being Batman 89. Both that film and this one use the imagery of television a lot.
Right.
And it's something Frank Miller does a lot in the Dark Knight books, and particularly Dark Knight Returns. It's like television screens, shots of television screens, and there's whole panels that are just. And I always think that in Batman 89, when he sits at the back computer and there's all those screens, there's whole sections of Dark Knight Returns that are just TV screens.
Right.
And when I see it in this, and it's all about, because both of these films use the idea of, public broadcast and manipulating the media, are both quite foregrounded in these two movies.
Yeah,
and I sort of wonder if that was just sort of on vogue, or if that is kind of
the first one has a very strong kind of media because you've got Vicky Vale, and the news is quite prevalent, prominent in that with Knox and Vale, and you kind of think, well, is that a Superman thing? Like, because obviously there was is that a sort of not a reference, but
well, they reference the first movie references Corto Maltese, which is a fake country in DC, and that's where Batman is that's where Superman's sort of carrying out police action in Dark Knight Returns. He's like pacifying a conflict in Corto Maltese. So I don't know. It's Brad Watson has cancelled you in capitals.
Oh, right, yeah, I saw it. Hang on. Right, let's go back here. Right, I cancel ye, Mr. Casey. Be gone, I say. This is my Willem Dafoe from The Lighthouse that I haven't finished watching. I did start watching.
Oh, I haven't started it yet. Damn.
It's cool, man. But I put it on and it's in 4:3, and my wife was like, "I ain't fucking watching."
Oh, is it? Is it in 4:3?
Okay, yeah, and black and white. Nice. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I cancel ye, Mr. Casey. Be gone, I say, purged from existence and evermore be banished to the chill of the real world. Be gone from this world of pretend names and hidden identities. Yes, be cancelled. I don't know what that means, but I gather it means go away.
I just liked his energy. I saw it come through in caps. I was like, yeah.
Brad Watson, writer and director of Halloween.
Yes,
and other.
We should put that in the trivia section for Hallows Eve. Just that verbatim. Floyd75 Dylan, who is a ardent Val Verde supporter. Hey, Floyd. Always on Twitter, always on the chats. Always good to have you. How old were you when you first saw an 18 film that your parents let you watch? My parents were notionally very strict, but the problem was we watching things wise. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, we watched everything at other people's houses in our own room, and we reached a point where the floodgates were open. They were just like, well, we can't do anything because other people's parents let us watch shit. So my mum and dad had the best of intentions. So I used to watch The Terminator when I was a kid, when I was like in primary school, over and over and over and over and over. and I can't remember how. I think I watched it on someone else's house. When my mum and dad found out I'd seen it, like the damage was done, and it was just like, well, there's no point stopping him now because he's seen it. Like,
yeah, that's kind of what happened, I think, with me as well. Like, I mean, actually, Dad will remember. I don't really remember. But I remember watching Terminator and Predator and that kind of stuff with him when I was quite young, but I kind of don't know what age I was. I mean, it's like my wife and I now will watch stuff with our daughter on our lap and stuff, and like bonking will happen or whatever. And it'll be like some sort of graphic sex scene will come on with like fucking pussy and all that stuff, and we're like, is this bad? Like, should we maybe?
She's not making memories yet, right?
She'll be like sat there with her fingers in her mouth, just like, huh?
Just shitting, just shit, streams of shit.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the only discernible word she knows is Glieber, which is not. Oh no, sorry, Gablee.
Oh, speaking German. Yeah.
Yeah.
It means to experience joy.
A small but very potent skunk. That's what the Gablee is.
Ah, yeah, the Gablee, yeah.
So that's.
Motivator, das ist eine Gablee. That's what she says all the time.
But obviously, the fear is that her favourite word will be fuck and or pussy, because we watched. Whatever.
I think you're all right. She doesn't have those language centres yet. I think it doesn't draw a line under it. Just don't every day. Fuck. Okay, off we go. Every day for a whole childhood.
That's some horrific Ludovico thing.
We've had a Mark Flanagan give us 5 USD or US dollars. Do you think Batman and other hero films benefit from Burton types who impose their styles, or might be truer to their sources with journeyman types? It's interesting, isn't it? Because like, what's his name? Who directed Captain America? Joe Johnston. Very much kind of journeyman director. And one of his most beloved things ever that he did was The Rocketeer, which is original IP. Right. And it's viewed as this like really wonderfully loved superhero movie, but it's not based on anything.
Yeah.
And he's I kind of view him as a journeyman. And I've said this before, I don't really like Captain America: The First Avenger, but I really appreciate how it's made. I think it's really beautifully made. I just think it's quite boring to watch.
I quite like it. So, I actually quite enjoyed it because I think I watched it did we watch it for a commentary or something? And I watched it in preparation for that, whatever it is. But I think
you did a commentary for it and I didn't. I think.
Really?
Yeah. I don't recall ever. I did the Iron Man ones and you did Captain America. Yeah, I did Iron Man. You did Captain America.
Oh, okay. Anyway. Yeah. No, I thought it was good. I actually kind of enjoyed it on repeat viewing, but I think it depends on the director. It depends on if you find an auteur type who just happens to be aligned with the property you're selling, then I guess you end up with a very strong thing. And that was kind of what I think people thought Tim Burton was, especially with the first Batman. But I think if you have a journeyman type director who can deliver a competent product, then I mean, I don't know what is Chris Nolan in that.
Well, my example. Let's tediously draw this back to my shallow frame of reference. Right, here's a test for you. Who directed Dredd?
I do know this. Go on.
Pete Travis.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of people say that really Alex Garland was pulling the strings on that, like he did most of the work and stuff. But Pete Travis fucking directed that and was on set, and he I think he wasn't involved in the edit, and there was controversy and stuff. But he was the named director. He's the credited director for that film.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the discussion around that is that it was done like a TV show, and like Alex Garland was like a showrunner, and blah 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 blah. But like that's a good movie. That's a good version of that character. And the director for that was some guy. Like I hate to say that because he's got a better career than I have, and I'm sure he's a great bloke. But the director for that was some guy, and. When that was announced, I was kind of like, I don't know who this is. Is that good?
It's like who directed Predators, right?
Nimrod Antal.
He's
got a really interesting career, actually, because no, I'm joking. I don't know anything about him. I just know his name. Yeah, exactly. It was Robert Rodriguez by proxy, wasn't it? So, I know that was the thing that he wanted to get made for years and stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of his film,
Cashback.
I don't know. Oh, Justin, did you want to read that super chat?
Yeah, so Jocelyn sent us another 55 Norwegian kroner. Thank you very much, mate. You don't have to do that. We will read your stuff out. I interviewed the Rocketeer actor recently, Billy Campbell. He lives in Norway. Very nice dude. Oh, very cool. Billy Campbell's great. I mean, I like Billy Campbell a lot. I still haven't seen the Rocketeer despite owning it on Blu-ray. Still in its cellophane. It was
you're going to get yourself some delightful Timothy Dalton action.
Very good.
That.
Well, then, it can't be bad. But I hadn't. I still haven't seen it, but I do know it's beloved, and I do know that it is a.
It's cool. It's fucking cool. I mean, I'm not as bananas for it as other people are, but it's cool. Yeah, it's a cool film, and I totally get what it's doing.
Nice.
And it's got kind of Timothy Dalton as, I'm going to say, a more evil Errol Flynn. If you know what Errol Flynn's like. Errol, feed him to the pigs, Errol Flynn. It's cool. It's a cool film, and I think that makes him a really excellent choice for Captain America. I just happen to find that film quite boring. I just think it's so wonderfully made, and it's got all these beautiful kind of references to cinema of that era and stuff, but I just don't find it very interesting to watch.
Do you think Batman would quip? So like when he goes like, eat floor, high fiber. It's like, would he say that? Like,
it's hard to tell, isn't it? Because like 60s Adam West Batman absolutely would. Silver Age Batman would.
Well, I don't think 60s Adam West Batman wouldn't go eat floor.
Oh, but it's still quipping. It's still quipping, though, isn't
it? There, like, he wouldn't say that. Like,
no, but he would say chill out if someone got frozen.
Yeah. Of course. Well, okay, yeah, but I mean,
there wouldn't be mean quips, but they're still quips.
Yes, yeah, okay. Sorry, I should have been more specific. But would he say spirited quip? You know,
mean things. Yeah, mean things. No. I mean, my Batman's all stoic and stuff, right? Like Judge Dredd says mean things because he's supposed to be a cunt. Like that's the point.
There is a thing with this costume as well, because it was like the whole Tim Burton says that the only thing I've ever heard him say about the fact that he made the costume all black instead of sort of grey and black was that he was like, I just couldn't envision it any other way. I mean, to me he was just all black, and there wouldn't, it's like black Johnny, but he still made the symbol and the belt yellow, and it's like, right, but if there's no actual appreciable reason for that other than it's just your sensibility, which is okay, but like, you know, it's like, why would he paint things yellow? And it's like, well, I'm going all black. It's like, then go all black. You know, I mean,
I think he had a boner for the black Superman costume, didn't he? Which Zack Snyder used as well. But I think because they were doing the Death and Return of Superman, a boner for that. I always liked in this one because I think we had a toy of this or something. You know, in the original one, he's got like a 6-pack, but in this, he's got those kind of slats.
Yeah. And
it kind of matches the way the Batmobile gets covered in those slats when it armors. Yeah, I was like, I like that. There's a weirdly specific thing I liked from the.
I do like the redesign, and the cowl's redesign. It's much sleeker. It's more refined, and it does work well. But it's while still being kind of true to the original one. I think it's much more streamlined, which is good.
I think that the thing is with these costumes is they would look good on a statue.
Yeah,
they're not designed to move terribly well. So like, because I've never had the hugest problem with them not looking comics accurate because they look kind of cool, you know.
Well, that was always my thing with the Batman Begins versus Dark Knight thing is just like you really, you know, the comic thing is the cowl goes into the cape, right, and it's all supposed to look of a piece, and it's like in this they sort of the way they do it is the cowl goes into this big shoulder thing, and it's like, but the neck should always be joined in. Because in the comics, it's like, well, it's sort of implied that's material, and it's not really
kind of some kind of fabric or something.
Yeah, it's like, you know, so but in this you have to make it out of rubber, and it's like, well, okay. So it's like I don't mind, and I opt for that over the whole. It's a bicycle helmet attached to a neck thing. That's sort of like, well, I don't know. I don't find that as compelling because it's like.
It creates a great image as well because of these things you try to sell, and it's like, well, that would be this huge mushroom thing because it's always like, oh, it's full of shock absorbing, and it's like, is it? Because it looks like it's touching his fucking head. Like that's.
Brad's off.
Brad's off.
Yeah. Just had to say that. Bye, Brad. If you're still here, mate, great to see you, and I hope we can catch up. I want to see you soon, man. I miss you. Let's do something.
Yep. Yeah, we're setting it up. It's going to happen.
I don't know. Is it because it's like one of those things? But I want us all to get together and just. Like, this is what I fucking hate about lockdown.
But it might be illegal. That's the issue. Yeah, and it could well be illegal.
Given who I'm married to, I can't really do illegal things.
Duncan is married to Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Out of the bag now.
Surprising move, yeah. The first man of Great Britain.
the first gay couple to give birth.
They've kept that naturally right out the anus. That's how that happens. I've been corrected. I've got a big correction. I've got a big correction.
I've got a big throbbing correction.
Mark Flanagan has had to give money for his correction, which I apologise for. Rocketeer is based on Dave Stevens' comic, not new IP. Actually, a good adaptation. Batman here. Is comics accurate? Catwoman and Penguin, not at all.
Ought we cancel Richard then for his insolence? I think we ought.
Hashtag cancel Richard for me. Hashtag cancel Duncan for Duncan. We'll count the votes at the end. I mean, the thing is, because Batman kills people in this again, right? That's because this is the thing as well. It's not just that he kills someone; he does it with such abandon and sort of mirth. Yeah, because he grins and
he literally smiles at a guy who he's just stuffed a load of TNT into his pants and then punches him and kicks him down a.
It's so blasé.
Yeah,
it's so blasé.
To I believe to the Wilhelm scream. There is a Wilhelm scream, or it's just before that. I think there's a guy who makes a Wilhelm scream. Oh, that's right, because the guy's like waiting to pounce on him, and he just walks past him and goes "dush," and then like grabs him and throws him, and he goes "wow," and like throws. It's like, why would he do that? Like all you did was punch him. Like,
can you do a Wilhelm scream?
No,
because I can't. I find it really hard. It feels like. I don't know. I think I'm not suggesting you do because it's a waste of time. But I think if you studied it, you probably could.
I mean, maybe, but the thing is to do it authentically. You'd have to do the whole because it was one of lots of screams recorded for Foley, essentially for I don't know which film, but it was supposed to be a man being eaten by a crocodile. Well, you go.
I do. Oh no, I'm not saying because I need it for next week.
I see. Very good. Well, I know.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. All right, Saxon better have fucked off because both I'm gonna have to rewrite that question because I couldn't keep it in my fucking trousers. Anyway.
Okay, there you go. But it is supposed to be a man being eaten by a crocodile or alligator or something.
Yes. That's right.
So, but that,
like that.
Yeah. Well, that was very good. There you go. Yeah, exactly. But it's like. There's the original recordings are available on YouTube and stuff, but it's like there's loads of takes, and that just happens to be one of them. And it was a sort of sound engineer's in joke that would see how many films you could get it into, and now it's obviously everyone knows about it. So it's like
sort of like the Alan Smithy thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's so obvious. Like when it turns up now, it's just like okay. Like, it's just so obvious now at this point.
You have to put it in a Star Wars film and an Indiana Jones film. That's the kind of lore, I guess. Like, you have to do that. But I don't think it's ever been in a Bond film because Bond is classic.
No? Yeah, of course. Yes, of course.
So I think
they
in this
dream of that.
Where Batman's like getting the cars out, you can definitely see the cables like pulling all the cars up the side. Like if you look. So the Penguin's grand thing is to like. His grand plan is to he's framing Batman, isn't he? That's right. So he's remote controlling the Batmobile,
and he's using a miniature fairground Batmobile that he's built to do this.
Yeah, which is silly. But the thing is, I mean, but then that I see. This is the funny thing with this film is because it's like in the first one, it's like Batman is still a bit of a he's not known. People don't know who he is. At the end, it's implied that there's a bit of public knowledge about who he is, but generally speaking, he's under the radar. He's a vigilante. People don't know who's a vigilante. And
vigilante.
In this, it's like, they call it a Batmobile for one thing, and that always irked me about The Dark Knight as well because it was at one point Alfred goes, "Will you want the Batpod, sir?" And it's like. So you called it that then?
Yeah, because the other stuff's dumb. You can't call it a Batmobile. That's dumb. But we'll call this a Batpod.
Yeah, exactly. So you are naming things Bat X. It's like what?
What do they call the plane thing in the third one? That's not called the Bat plane or anything, is it? It's called
the Bat.
The Howler.
It's just called the Bat.
The Bat.
Yeah. Which is like...
those films do have that element of being slightly ashamed of the fact they're superhero films.
Yeah, it's like I just helped to calling it the Bat. It's like, did you? Well, I guess that's what we'll call it.
I guess that's it now, is it?
Lucius Fox as well, and that is jumping the shark moment because it's just like, we developed this thing for flying between buildings, so that's why it's got propellers underneath. It's like, we developed this for a very specific bat-related thing.
We developed this in case of a Bane attack. I mean,
It's like, right. I mean,
that film,
cute.
man.
It's cute. It's
that's all. That whole setup's fine. That whole setup's fine because, like, when they do that in Batman Begins and he's giving him the splunking suit, yeah, it's massively cute, and I have no problem with that whatsoever.
No, none at all. And it actually works very well. It's just when you have to, because you're upping the stakes in one area, that means you have to up it in all areas, and that means that your very earnest, down-to-earth explanation for one thing becomes extremely outlandish. You know, because you're tethered to this idea that everything has to make sense, albeit in universe, it still has to have verisimilitude. You know?
That holds water in Batman Begins because they do that quite meticulously, and then it really gets away from them by the third one, and it's kind of like, right, okay, right. We built this submarine in case of an underwater Bane attack or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not calling it the best submarine. That's dumb.
Well, so because I had the toy of this, but that bit earlier where the Batmobile became a smaller Batmobile was called the Bat Missile, and I had that as a toy.
Right. Okay.
And it was like, right.
No, but it didn't clip together into a full size Batmobile. It was
disappointingly, no. But there's a bit of dialogue just before that where he goes, and I for the longest time didn't know what the fuck he said, but it was like, I'm an amyloid. It sounded like when I was a kid, and I was like, what? And I think he just goes, okay, now I'm a little worried, and then he flicks this because the switch isn't working, and then he flicks it eventually just at the last minute, and it turns into the. But I was like, I'm an amyloid. Like, I was like, I'm enamored with your droid. I don't know what he's saying. But yeah, I think it's okay. Now I'm a little worried, and then flicks it, and it's like, and because again, it's like that's a brief bit of Batman internal monologue, isn't it? Is it's like, because you never get, that's the one time you're sort of with him, and it's like the first moment, and it's like, is that an insight into Batman? Is that him saying like, okay, this is the first time he's been worried in this whole thing?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because the fact we have to puzzle over that points to the weaknesses in the characterization of Batman, who's very much like the fourth wheel in this film.
Yeah.
Because again, like seeing Michael Keaton unmasked, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, it just feels like a shock when you see him. Because he's in it so little. Yeah. It's not, I want to keep banging that drum, but
this bit here, this bit when they just went into the Batcave, like, when he goes and puts his hand in the fish tank and opens the Iron Maiden stuff, it's like that that has that bit of dialogue when he says to Alfred, who let Vicky Vale into the Batcave, because he's talking to him about security and all that kind of thing, and it's like that was their way of addressing a flaw in the first film. And then also the fact that he gets in an Iron Maiden, right, it closes and then the spikes go away. Like, right.
What you don't see, Duncan, is that he breathes in. No, wait, he breathes out. Okay. That would
be. So that's how they work.
There's no way, as a genius inventor billionaire, even as a genius inventor billionaire, I'm not hiding my entrance in an Iron Maiden with retractable spikes ever. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, you just have to put your cock in the cock chopper, and then it opens the secret. Little penis guillotine on his desk with like a little place to rest your balls, and that open. No, thanks. No, thank you.
It's also a bit like this, the preceding scene had a bit where his tech nearly didn't work in time, and it's like, well, do you really trust me?
I was just getting this spike coffin.
But it is a great image. Like, it is a good image. It's just like,
yeah, right. And that's all very, very Silver Agey.
He just scratched a fucking CD. Did you see that? I played this stinking city like a harp from.
But this is exactly the film to have a fucking Run DMC tie-in track.
Yeah. But then also the problem with that is, like, firstly, the take is different. Like, if you watch this film, like when he goes, I play this stinking city like a harp from hell, and then the version he plays back on the audio is like different. It's a different take from Danny DeVito. So it's like, well,
right, okay.
And then, but also it's like, wouldn't the people there wonder why he's saying that over and over again? Like, in exactly with record scratching noises. It's It's the whole point. Well, rock bottom, man. It's fucking like.
I hate his ideas, but I love that urban music. I'm still going to vote for him.
Mr.
Colourpod, no.
Dramatization may not have happened. It's like,
rock bottom,
and that's enough to sink his mayoral campaign. It's like,
biting that geezer's nose off in front of a room full of people. That was fine.
It's so demonstrably not him speaking. Like his mouth isn't moving, and all you can hear is. It's like, right,
because this is where they do like this feels like it's referencing the film Fritz Lang's where he's kind of on the run and stuff, but like it's but then he gets in a giant rubber ducky, so it's like what is it? Like what do you want, like what do you want out of this, like what are you doing? I don't know, because on one hand it wants to be the sort of Saturday morning cartoon, but then it's quite grisly and dark at the same time. And I don't have a problem with either of those things. I don't necessarily have a problem with either of those things combined, but it's like, well, do that with your own fucking IP. Like, don't do it with a Batman.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're not interested in making a fucking Batman story, right?
I do like this stuff when he starts tearing off all the kind of.
Yeah, he regresses into kind of sewer penguin.
Crank the AC. You have air conditioning down there?
Right? It's really, really well serviced in his sewer layer.
Yeah.
It's in a lot of ways quite tasteful.
Indeed. The great Vincent Schiavelli, we must say, actually, as the organ grinder with the monkey. Dr. Kaufman from...
Dr. Kaufman. He's great. He's just has the most amazing face.
From Ghost as well.
Yeah. See, I need to watch Ghost again. I fucking loved Ghost when I was a kid. I loved that version of, because it's actually quite like, it's like, it's got all the boring romance stuff in it. Yeah, when I was a kid. But like the Ghost world in it, I thought was fucking cool. And that dude gets dragged to hell and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I should watch that again. Yeah, Vincent Schiavelli in that is, get off my train. Like,
the dude was a fucking great actor. The late Vincent Schiavelli, we should say. Great actor, great character actor, and just like, you know, Tomorrow Never Dies is obviously my go-to reference for him, but you know, and in a very small part makes an incredible, indelible impact, and is by and large sort of, you could argue you know, completely incidental to the plot, but
it's such a horrible character, and
such a likable character, such a horrible character, and has a really great moment with our protagonist, which is, you know, when he's like, wait, I'm just a professional doing a job, and he's just like, me too, you know, and it's about bringing Bond back. That he's just seen like an old love of his killed because of him, and it's like, it's a way of bringing Bond back down to a level where it's like, no, so am I. Fuck you. So am I. You made me remember.
Yeah. This is you. You did this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're on the same turf here. Don't pull that shit with me.
Well, not only that, but it's like that thing of like Bond remembering what he is in that moment, which is like I've just cost someone their life who I cared about, but I am just a professional doing a job.
Tomorrow Never Dies does
reckoning,
have
you know,
quite a bit of Bond sort of Bond as sociopath, I think, is writ large in Tomorrow Never Dies. I just think there's quite a lot of accent on him killing people and merrily quipping about it, which I know is his thing. But speaking as someone who I really like Tomorrow Never Dies, as you know. But
remembering to stop and show the consequences is something that is requires nuance and requires a deft hand, which I think they don't always get right, but I think in that film they do. In that moment, you know, and in a couple of other moments, but especially in that moment, I think it's pretty well handled. Anyway, we're not here for that. We're here for
you know, maybe we could do that another day.
Hey,
that's a different film.
We've got no time to do that another day.
No time to diet. It's Christmas. Here's Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle at the Eyes Wide Shut party. They're all going to start fucking in a minute. As we all. There is. They did a good thing with Selena earlier, like when she's because you know, like before she's Catwoman, they just do it with no makeup, which means she's got that kind of pale makeup on instead.
Right. Yeah.
And she looks kind of, and she's got those glasses on, and there's a bit where her and Walker are kind of underlit from the desk for some reason. There's just powerful lamps under the desk.
That fell over.
Her glasses create this kind of grid on her face and that frames her eyes. and it's really nice. It just makes her look sort of lost. It's really cool before she becomes Morticia Addams or whatever she's supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, she's become all sexy, and I mean, it's like it's almost like she's hired a makeup artist for all this stuff, because it's like her hair's done in this crazy way. And
the young people would say it's on fleek. I'm certain.
Oh,
they would say.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
people say, Duncan. I'm trying to capture that young audience.
Right. Again, I would say it's fine to be sort of abstract in that way, because it's kind of like, well, actually, it works. It's daft when you think about it, but it's like, but that's not the point. It's an expression of who she is, right? So
I sort of wonder with this film I agree, but I think this film pushes it a bit too far, because there's a lot of abstract stuff in it, but some stuff is so bizarre that it's just like, if anything can happen for no reason at any point, then it really robs the film of any kind of gravity. Because like, if he's just going to get into a miniature Batmobile, I like the wacky Silver Age stuff, but if at any moment he could just go to a miniaturized Batmobile, he could control the big Batmobile, or cats can bring someone back to life, or he's going to jump into a big rubber ducky. It's like, well, nothing means anything, because like the end of the film could reveal that it takes place in a Dachshund's anal glands, and
you had to go there.
Or it could be the dream of a spider. For all
you're right. Yeah, absolutely. It does rob it of any sort of agency, or I mean, there's no profundity to be found, or meaning, or it places a sort of condom-like barrier between us and it, or I should prophylactic-like barrier between us and sort of stops being able to see that. That shot always makes me think all those people are standing around waiting for that explosion to happen, because it's
very spectacular stunt.
Oh yeah,
but they're just sort of
we're dancing, right? Logan W raises a good point that he says, "Did you guys talk about how mental Sean Young went when auditioning for this?" No, we didn't. But obviously, Sean Young came in for Vicky Vale, couldn't do it because she fell off a horse or got pregnant or whatever. And then decided she wanted to come in for Catwoman and jumped on her desk or something, and they were like,
she turned up in a Catwoman costume, and sort of like similar thing to Lance Henriksen's Terminator audition, but with less success. And I think she was basically, the way I understand it, so she turned up in a Catwoman costume, and I think she had associates with her on walkie-talkies, and they were like stalking around the Warner Brothers lot trying to locate Tim Burton or something.
Wow. Okay.
And it's sort of like, no, that's mad. Stop. No, you can't be in the movie.
Yeah, because she's not been in an Batman film since. Yeah,
she's generally quite troublesome, I think. She sounds like a bit of a troubled lady.
Great in Ace Ventura as transgender.
Well,
Ray Finkel.
That's unlikely to turn up on any streaming services anytime soon. It probably is already in some, but
yeah. I love it. Yeah.
I need a drink.
I know, I do. Yeah, let's do that. I've polished off my Glenmorangie. Yeah, which sounds like a sort of some sort of monkey.
What, I've polished off my Glenmorangie?
Not the polished off bit, but just
well, that's what I took.
Glenmorangie, it sounds vaguely sapient, or not sapient. What's the word? You know what I mean. Anyway,
you fucking know what I mean.
What's the word to describe
Simian.
something? Simian. Thank you.
Simian.
Vaguely simian-like. Anyway, there we are. I'm tired. Fuck off.
That's fine. In terms of if you want that sweet Val Verde trivia, I just had to check because I was pretty certain. Chip Shrek is Andrew Brerinsky. Chip Shrek.
No, Dad, don't do that. Don't save yourself.
He was not Zangief. Who's the big Russian guy in Street Fighter? Oh God, it is Zangief.
That's
isn't it?
right.
Zangief. He was Zangief in the Street Fighter movie, but he's Butterfinger in Hudson Hawk.
That's right. That is right.
Dude, Hudson Hawk's the shit.
I saw that once under duress elsewhere, as you know, and fuck that movie, frankly, because I thought it was terrible.
It's kind of great. Like I insist, like if
great meaning large or immense, we use it in the pejorative sense.
it's one of these things where people go like, "You just say that because you're being contrarian," and I'm really not. It's sort of I can see why it failed, but like it's.
I that's one of those things. Again, like someone brought up on the Q&A last night, hating the sort of guilty pleasure phrase, and I don't hate that phrase because actually. What I like about it is it's inviting as a thing. When someone says, "What's your guilty pleasure?" they're not saying it. You know what I like about it is it's a way of terming. Instead of saying, "What shit film do you like?" it's a way of it's an inclusive term rather than a sort of scornful term. So
it's a nicely evocative term.
Yeah, and it's a welcoming phrase rather than an exclusionary phrase. But I take his point, which is like we shouldn't have to call it guilty. It's something we like.
I think we've talked about that before, and I do agree. Like because you shouldn't. If you like something, you shouldn't feel.
Sorry, go on.
This fucking dude, back credit card in the next movie or the one after. I can't remember. You shouldn't be guilty about something if you enjoy it. I mean, unless it's child pornography, in which case you should definitely be guilty and also have yourself in at the local police station. Yeah. But like it's a nicely evocative phrase because it's something. Because Street Fighter the movie as well is a guilty pleasure to me. And I appreciate it more as I get older because it is like this brilliantly dumb, and I get the kind of Stephen E. D'Souza of it all. Hudson Hawk I really like because it's got loads of childish humour, but it's really violent, and it's trying to marry those two things in a way that I think doesn't do successfully. But also, I watched it when I was really young, and I also sort of wonder if I'm just sort of poisoned by my own nostalgia for that film.
The thing is, mate, I mean, like Stephen Allen says, right, I'm going to be contrarian as hell here and say I love Hudson Hawk for being a just cheesy camp in the same way Flash Gordon is. Yeah. It is dumb. Stephen absolutely
Allen.
Fine, man. And you're right. You're not wrong. You're absolutely right. And I think, you can enjoy any film. I have people, God bless them, come up to me and say they enjoyed a film I've made. They took something from it. Sorry. What's his name? What's the lad's name we did the interviews for? I'm so sorry, but I can't remember things at the moment. Who reviewed Kenneth?
Who has the most wonderful voice in the world.
Indeed.
You've pushed it out of my head. This is your fault.
It is my fault.
Stan Wilkes.
Stan Wilkes. Thank you. You win. You win the prize for best human.
Dude, we both looked like terrible people.
I'm so Stan.
Stan Wilkes has the most magnificent voice.
Stan has the most magnificent voice.
That's the compliment I'm going to throw out to pave over the cracks of the disrespect
Stan and his mate reviewed Kenneth for half an hour or whatever it was on his channel, and went to. I mean, anytime, anywhere. Like, I mean, this is something that people I think really don't get, but it's like if you've spent a month or a year or however long it is making an thing, and then someone deigns it worthy of their time to go and watch it and really analyze it and take the time to understand it, that's an incredible compliment. And even if you turned around and said it's bullshit, I hate it, it's like, well, but you still spent the time, you still deigned it worthy of your time. And it's like that's So anytime anyone goes like, "Oh, I feel a bit guilty watching Hudson Hawk," fuck off. It didn't resonate with me. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Like I hated it, but that's not the point. It doesn't. Who cares? I didn't hate it. That's not true. There was lots to take away from it. There.
You've not watched it properly yet to watch for a commentary.
Yeah, that's true as well. But
I really don't think I'm ever going to turn you around on that. And there's
I did watch it. I did watch it before.
Oh, you watched it the night before?
I watched it. Yeah, I made a big deal about that. I wouldn't watch things just on commentary. I would actually.
Sorry, all of those things are kind of a blur to me. All that past commentary.
Yeah,
stuff.
me too.
Including on our channel as well. I'm not just
Yeah. But it just didn't work for me. But that's fine. It doesn't matter. Like again, it's this thing of like, look, please don't apologize for liking a thing. It's a positive. I mean, again, like apart from child pornography, as you said, but like
there are other categories as well, which we won't get into it,
etc. Ethnic cleansing.
Guilty pleasure.
That's the point. That really is a guilty. So you should feel guilty about.
Yeah, there's things for which you should feel guilty. Yeah, exactly.
Whereas liking Hudson Hawk is not exactly equivocal.
Which I don't believe is subject to any kind of jail term in any territories that I know about. Whereas child pornography most certainly is.
Yeah.
You know, that's true. Hudson Hawk doesn't share that. It's not banned. Did you know, like, they only banned Hudson Hawk in Japan like 10 years ago. It's disgusting.
The video nasty scandal of Botswana was quite...
Their censorship board had to take up against this film that a lot of people think is quite shit, but doesn't really have anything that objectionable in it.
Obviously still called the BBFC, which was...
Botswana Board of Film Classification.
There you go.
Oh.
Welcome to Val Verde.
We're very broadcasting, yeah. These are the ones. These are moments like this that people who already subscribe are like, "That's what we're here for," and people have just turned up, unsubscribe over.
Yes, yeah. But that has to be a thing, right? The Botswana film. I mean, I assume not that I don't think the bureaucracy of Botswana is probably as acute as ours, but you know. Maybe.
Well, there's like the DVLA, the Dennis and Vincent Licensing Authority. The only people who are allowed to name anyone Dennis or Vincent is the Dennis and Vincent
Swansea. Hello. All right. Actually, I have a letter from the DVLA that arrived today because my driving license is about.
Because you tried to call your daughter Dennis or Vincent.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. Okay, well, look, we're not really talking about the finale to this thing.
The woman disappears into the dark there in the igloo. I get it's like I'm not quite. I guess because it's polar, because there's literal penguins there, aren't there?
Because it's an old zoo, isn't it? So it's like a penguin enclosure. I mean, this is bananas. All the stuff, it must be said, like the stuff with the March of the Penguins into Gotham, that's crazy. Like, that's insanely good. Like, in terms of the staging.
Oh, yeah. And
you know,
the imagery and stuff. Yeah. But he's got penguins that are, like, have mind control caps on.
Yes. And little wee rockets on their backs as well.
Little wee rockets on their backs.
Little wee rockets, eh?
They hang out in the sewer amongst the wee jobbies. And they fire the wee fucking little missiles off the back, you know, Batman. Said Ross. What's his name? Grant Morrison. You know, that's what happens in Batman. Pardon me. Sorry about that. Right. Where's Jobbies? I just jobbied in my pants.
Oh, Eric Granlund is in with, I think, Swedish krona. SEK, 50 SEK. Let's say. Yeah. That stands for Stephen Even Knows. That's a rare currency. Right. One lost movie I'd like to be discovered in an attic somewhere would be Andy Warhol's whole 2 hours unofficial Batman Dracula movie. Yeah, have you heard about the supposed Andy Warhol Batman Dracula film?
No, I've seen the animated Batman Dracula.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's the thing. Yeah. Andy Warhol,
but not.
Shot hours and 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 hours of stuff, random crazy stuff, and there's supposed to be Batman related things within that, which he shot. But he did so much film that it's just probably statistical that there's a Batman.
It's like 1,000 monkeys at 1,000 typewriters.
That's kind of you know, like, sorry to go on a tangent for a moment. The pop artist Roy Lichtenstein. Remember Roy Lichtenstein? He used to do the paintings of panels from comics, so it'd be like wham pow. Remember
yeah. Okay, yeah.
So there was a movement. Dave Gibbons was involved. The great Dave Gibbons was involved in a movement to credit all the artists because Roy Lichtenstein was just lifting panels from comics and painting them on canvases, and people went, "This is brilliant art. Let's pay lots of money for the brilliant art." And the people who originally kind of drew them went, "Oh, that's annoying. When I do it, it's trash. When this prick does it, it's art." Yeah. And there was a movement to sort of give credit to the people from whom Roy Lichtenstein.
I believe you left out "you pretentious cunts."
yes, indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
That if I was those guys, I'd just do a comic about Roy Lichtenstein molesting children and just be like, yeah, copy that. Copy panels from that, you cunt. Lichtenstein, you cunt.
Lichtenstein, you motherfucker.
And by Stein, I mean bumhole or balls or something.
I mean gooch. I don't mean fucking receptacle for a litre.
Receptacle. Sorry, the word receptacle is just brilliant. It's just a great word.
That's a Lebowskiism, really. It's the guy, the funeral home guy. It's just like, it is our most modestly priced receptacle.
Christopher Walken here looks like your nan who's been caught in the rain.
I've been caught in the rain. Does anyone have a cagoule?
I was going to the bingo.
I've got an appointment tonight for bridge, but I need a cagoule. That's cagoule is such a...
Cagoule's a great granny word.
Word, yeah. But he's still got a cape.
75.
No one says it's like Max Shrek has a cape. Like, he's
I know,
wearing
right?
a cape. Like, it's like,
I don't know, just good evil billionaire cape.
Right. I mean, that's the first thing I bought with my first paycheck was a cape.
Of course, he gets mega electrocuted, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. So this is the famous bit, obviously, where Batman, it cuts away and it cuts back, and he's missing the panda eyes, right?
He's got no makeup, and the cow's it's bulletproof, but also made of licorice, so he can just sort of pull it off.
Just peel it off. Right. And then that kind of electricity thing, whatever it is behind her, is just pulsating up and down for no reason.
For reasons of science.
Because electricity, it's just got too much electricity in it or whatever. And then, there you go, now he hasn't got the eye thing on. And then, that's the thing, again, that's that thing if they shy away from it. It's like, why don't you just, and it seems like by all accounts with Matt Reeves, or is it Matt Reeves doing the new Batman?
Reeves, yeah.
He's finally gone, look, he just puts makeup around his eyes, right? Get over it. And it's like, so...
You know what? If it was just two perfect circles, yeah, it'd look dumb. If it's like a stripe, that's what annoyed me, because Dark Knight Rises kind of does it, doesn't it? He takes the cowl off in the thing.
Well, he doesn't take it off on screen. That's probably shown.
That's what irritates me, because it's like, come on, because he's just gone... Take it off in one swipe. We're like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
This is everyone's unmasked. Look
You're
at my
fired.
cape. Also, the cowl seems to, because when he rips the cowl off, like suddenly the neck is this hugely wide thing. She got licked by cats, so she got 9 lives or something or whatever.
That's the thing. Well, yeah, because he shoots her a bunch of times here, and it's just like, so it's just overtly like saying she has 9 lives because she literally counts them down and stuff, and then wastes one on electrocuting him, right? And it's like, so, but it's a thing this is the problem with this. It's like, if you're gonna do it, but don't do it like right now. She's figuring that out, and it'd be one thing if it was like actually she doesn't, but it's like she's just surviving these shots enough to get there and kill him. That would be.
Did you? So you know the I believe the Halle Berry movie came about owing to a kind of long-standing plan to make a Michelle Pfeiffer movie.
Right. Okay.
So that was what she was such a big success in this that they wanted to do a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman movie. And
that's ironic because it was right after Halle Berry. So there was all that Jinx offshoot stuff they talked about for Bond for her.
Indeed,
and then she does
yes,
an offshoot Catwoman. It's another link to Bond, isn't it? It's another sort of like.
Well, something I've kind of thought about in regards to that is like as we were just saying. So yeah, there was going to be a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman film they wanted to do. But she's used 8 of her 9 lives, and like out of cat powers, that's like if you showed at the end of the first Spider-Man film that he's run out of web and can't ever have any more. Yeah. And it's like, well, one of the things other than sort of being kinky, like is having 9 lives. Well, she lick her own arsehole and like has loads of milk. Like I don't know what she could do flips. She could do sexy flips.
This is a great shot of Danny DeVito coming out of the water and kind of being covered in bile or whatever. But it's like, and then like the way it all kind of pours down his face, or the kind of green gunk, whatever that is, because it's not blood, because he's bleeding red from every other thing. But it is a bit like, what are we saying? I don't really know.
It's these kind of expressionist and abstract things for their own sake. And it's kind of like, it crosses like a... I always loved that as a kid, though. Kind of screaming, electrified zombie Shrek, yeah.
As well, because it's like, if the fall into the water didn't kill him, then why didn't he drown by being underwater for ages during this whole thing? This is where he goes, I picked the cute one. Ah.
I must say, but because I meant to say this earlier, this was on Sky Movies once at Christmas, and one of my friends taped it, and then we watched it.
Right.
When it came out Sky Movies, so I suppose it would be a year after it came out or whatever. And as a young kid, I fucking loved this. I thought it was brilliant.
It does look like there is a great look like that shot. I mean, there is a sort of again abstract as hell, but there is that real sort of tragic. The music's really tragic here. The sort of March of the Penguins thing that happens where they just rock up and do a little march down the thing. It's like
all of it is just like, okay. Like, I love that because now we're getting Colin Farrell in a fat suit as Penguin.
No doubt one of those is Warwick Davis, but it's just like the Emperor Penguins come and just see him off. The thing is, I remember with all this stuff, you can see the tray that he's on that comes off when he goes into the water. His tray goes like
because they're supposed to be nudging him with their flippers, like
or something. Yeah, it's really dumb. Like it's kind of like what? But again, it's not like he was shown to have an affection for penguins, was it? Like he didn't like hang out. It was like penguins are my thing. It's like no, he never said that. Like look.
Well, again, there was a deleted scene where he uses one as a fleshlight.
Look at the tray. Look there, it goes underwater.
Oh, look there it goes! Wow, yeah, massively. Never noticed that.
But it's a good image. Again, a good image. It just isn't really married to anything concrete, I would say.
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? I mean, it either means something or it doesn't.
Yeah.
And there's just so much random stuff in this. It's like, well, does this mean anything?
No.
No, it does not. Michael Gough's great.
Yeah.
Bless him.
Yeah.
It's him. I meant to call this out earlier. Saxon referred to this cyclist films as the Pat Hingle quadrilogy, which is quite nice because like it is just
quadrilogy.
Indeed, yeah, it is just Hingle and Gough, right? Between those
I think they're the only ones who sort of make it through all of them. Which is bizarre when you think that these are all supposed to be in the same continuity. That's a very Burton thing that just happened just now with the whole like the shadow on the wall running. You know what I mean? Like that's very Edward Scissorhands. That's very kind of his MO is to have that kind of thing go on. But what are you saying? Like, okay, she survived, and like you say, to tee up for some sort of spin-off.
Yeah.
Didn't they spend a load of money on this final shot which is essentially a repeat of the first film? Where you had Batman on the rooftop, and then
is it like a big matte painting thing?
No, it's like an animatronic or something that just goes beep like that up into shot or something.
Amazing.
Okay. But they spent a load of money making it or something just because they were like, "This is how we should end this film," and it's like, is it though?
Is it though? Is it really? Is it though? Is it?
It's not though, is it though?
It's not though, is it though? Is it? It's not though, is it though? Is it though? He's going to go fuck that cat now instead because Catwoman's gone. I don't know. I've run out of funny things to say. Some might. Like I never had any in the first place, but that's a different story. Yeah. I've got a feeling I'm gonna because I remember this ending on like a kind of big, powerful shot. But I can't remember exactly what it is, so I'm going to have to be reminded.
There you go. No, but it just does what the first film does, which is pan up through all the kind of substructure of Gotham to find a new vigilante. But it's like, what are you saying with that? Is she just suddenly decided she's going to do good? And it's what she's standing on as well, because the camera, like you'll note, what it just went past was nothing. There's no floor under the camera.
Right, yeah, so where is she?
She's just standing on nothing.
Well, again, this is because, it's just abstract to the point of being meaningless. That's
yeah.
I've just quick comment from James Atkinson. Oh, whoops! Oh God, we're getting copyright strike. Just accidentally turned the volume up for a moment. Comment from James. Have you ever watched? Do you know Mark Maron, the American comedian? Have you ever heard of Mark Maron?
Yes. I do.
Have you ever listened to the WTF podcast with him?
No.
It's really good. Like he had Robin Williams on a few years ago, which is a really lovely episode. He gets some really interesting guests. Anyway, during his appearance on WTF with Mark Maron, Michael Keaton stated that he's never watched the completed film and only did it for the money, though he prefers it to Batman '89. Just kind of, I can believe that. I mean, I sort of think because the way he didn't come back for the third one, he's very diplomatic about, but you can tell that he didn't seem to need it. He didn't seem to have had the best time making it. And
yeah, I mean, I know he said that. I gather he was quite blasé about, and you tend to find this as well. It's like Daniel Craig said this about Spectre as well. He said it was the most fun he's had on a Bond film, but you could tell he could care less about it. And it's kind of the same, you know, it's just pretty much the same thing here. It's kind of like, I mean, I don't think he cared less, that's not true, but, you know, it's like, I think Keaton on this one was just, again, because it was probably like, it's back in the day where it was like, we did a big deal to get him in for Batman 89, and then we'll see where he goes. It's like he wasn't secured for another film, so it was like the crazy deal that his agent got him for returns netted him some decent returns.
He must have, because you remember, wasn't it with Jack Nicholson that he got a chunk of the revenue and merchandise, right? And that's why it was such an insanely good deal.
It wasn't just that, he would get royalties from any media of his version. That's why basically he was specifically Jack Napier. And he's credited as Jack Napier / Joker because the reason why Warner Brothers or DC did that was like, otherwise technically he gets a cut of the Joker for forever,
for all time.
Literally.
So presumably, do you know what Michael Keaton's deal was for returns? Then did he negotiate some insanely kind of good?
I don't, but I'm assuming he got back end. Yeah, he would have got back end. Well, I mean, it was just what Craig has done with the Bond films. He's got a producer credit now, so he gets back end. Which is, you know, do you know what? If you want the guy that much, or the girl, or whoever, I mean, Sigourney Weaver, I think, did it with Aliens as well. It's like, and good on her, and good on him. Like, I don't, again, as someone, you know, in the trenches, who understands, you know, it's one thing if you're, and this goes for any industry, I'm not just talking about acting, but if you're a dynasty, anyone, and you get handed these positions, it's easy to feel that it's egregious and undeserved, and I do understand that. But I think don't muddle the fact with, like, it's like sports people. So if you're the top of your game and you rise to the top, and yes, you're given the opportunity to do so, but you step up to the plate and you deliver and you become worth that amount of money, I get it. Like, why wouldn't you? Because the odds are you're going to spend, because trust me, you're going to spend years, decades, if not, like, fanning around in like and just trying to get somewhere. And I do understand it. Like, if you're in a position where it's like, okay, your last film, you made a studio hundreds of millions of dollars, why shouldn't you secure yourself a decent deal off the next one that means that you don't have to ever work again if you don't want to? I mean, it's like, because it's just like sports people who have to retire at 35 or whatever. Kind of go, well, fair enough.
Oh, fuck it. Yeah, like, dude, and
to live, you know.
Particularly like Michael Keaton, fucking great deal, right? And then don't come back and do the third one. Well, why would you? If you don't want to, don't. You've got yourself a great deal. You've done well out of it. You've got no obligation.
It's another thing as well where people sort of, when they talk to actors, and it's like there's this big deal made about artistic integrity and saying no to projects and being, you know, and then people get slapped down for saying yes to shit projects, and it's like, mate, it's work. If your job required you to sit and interview every month, to just stay there, and every time they changed the playing field, and it was going to be like, okay, now this month you have to say poo poo papa and hop up and down on your foot with your dick out for all day every day, then you would probably go like, no, but then you wouldn't get paid. So it's like, it's one of those things where you kind of go, well, you don't get it. It's like, you have to understand that, like, you know, people have to work. If they get to a position where they're able to make enough money to not have to work, that's when they can make artistic choices. And that takes a lot. Like, you don't understand. Like, that takes a lot to start turning down work. I mean, I'm very lucky. I mean, myself personally, I am in a position where I can turn down. Honestly, if something is that bad or something I just don't want to do, I can turn it down.
Look, as I said recently, one of my friends, I just saw her on an advert for Brexit, and she voted Remain, but she's an actor in a pandemic, and they said, "Do you want some money to do this Brexit advert?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Presumably not an advert for Brexit, because I think that argument is done.
Well, it's not the argument. It's just like, you know, it's essentially the government message for Brexit, which is, you know, being in that position is probably not a very comfortable thing to do. But like,
no,
you're getting fucking paid and you're an actor.
But fair enough.
You know what I mean?
And again, like, let's not tie our morals up with all that stuff. She has to eat. I get it. You know,
I am sorry. This is a very worthy and valuable topic of discussion. However, as has become a weekly post-stream occurrence, Dan Lyles has created some Photoshop for you on Twitter, which I'm going to pop on the stream now. But you go and have a look on your Twitter.
On my Twitter.
It's got the correct spelling. The correct incorrect spelling.
I think I really love this.
I just put that on the. I just sent it to Brad on. Sent to Brad on WhatsApp.
Where did he get that image of Brad from though? Because all I've seen.
Brad's Instagram.
Oh, did he put it on there? Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, no, because the only time I've seen that image was when he sent it to us on WhatsApp. So I'm assuming then he posted it on Instagram. But that is a great shot of Brad. I must say, I love that.
That is a good shot of Brad. Yeah,
that's Brad being a boss. I love it. I do love it. Oh, Dan, you are such a.
He's a treat, isn't he? A new piece by Dan Lyles. Okay, Brad's just seen it on WhatsApp.
God bless you. God bless you, Brad, and God bless you, Dan. That's amazing.
Oh, he tagged Brad on it anyway. There you go. There you go. Well, shit.
I love it. Whew. I love that. It's so good. It's so good. It's your Dr. Loomis face as well. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything.
I find there's that fucking the Dr. Loomis, because that's on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I was wearing an overcoat with padded shoulders over a tweed jacket. So if you look at it, I look like Uncle Fester. It's just like my shoulders are coming out of my jaw. Like it's
But the genius of Dan Lyles. So my one is my headshot, right? So that's a proper pro shot. But the other two he's made look like both of the other two could be, because he's done.
I tell you what, man, that dude fucking works quick. It's unreal. Like the fucking he did the graphics for my Ghost Pit videos, just bang like that, unasked for as well. They just appeared. And back in the day, he did for Risky Quizness. He did what Harry Potter and the Recorder of the Phoenix and Masters of the Kazuniverse, both spot on, correct branding and fonts for those franchises. Just sent them to me unrequested, I think, and they were just amazing. Dude's fucking so.
You are
so
an
quick.
Unsolicited genius, my friend. Thank you so much.
Did the poster for Icon, the Robert Englund story, the best documentary
very
ever,
much
coming out
then.
next week. Very much solicited, and also the Pennywise doc, which I'm not involved in and is therefore rubbish. No, that looks pretty nuts. The Pennywise doc, which had lots of input by John Campopiano, who works for PBS, and that looks fucking awesome.
That's it's because of my own personal, but I think that's of the Dead Mouse docs. That's the one I'm most excited to see.
You're dead to me. You're dead to me. You fucking dare come back on that.
because that.
Yeah, no, because that's your dude.
It's more my jam, but I'm super excited to see Icon and
fucking better be you. The It doc, man. From what I've I know. From having spoken to the guys about the It doc, they spoke to fucking everybody.
No one's done anything on that. There is stuff about Nightmare on Elm Street, again, not as extensive and not.
Yeah, of course. There's a whole doc about that already. Like,
and the beautiful thing about your one is just like we're gonna get to find out what Tony Todd thinks about fucking Robert Englund or Nightmare on Elm Street. How cool is that? But my point being is like there just isn't anything on that It miniseries, because it was a miniseries. So it was like,
man, they went everywhere. They've got they got an interview with Tim Curry, which is crazy, bless him, because he's not in the best health, but he did a full-on interview with the guys.
Amazing.
That's going in. So they're supposed to be out early next year. I mean, I haven't seen shit. Like I haven't seen the stuff I shot for Icon. I haven't seen since I shot it, because I didn't have the storage for it. They had to take the SSD out of my camera, put it on a laptop, and then that was it. It was gone. I couldn't keep it because we had to fucking wipe the drive every day.
Oh, of course.
So I wasn't going to bring it home because we had fucking at least 30 hours of material shot in 4K. I think it was 10-bit 4K as well. So it's like fucking huge. Yeah.
Well, Gary, if you're listening, I would love to see both of those things, and send them to me.
Send them to me.
No,
I
will pay for them. I would gladly pay to see those things, because I think they're worth it. You know,
I'm not cunts.
Well, you should.
It's great. I know, because Chris watches these. So Chris, if Gary saw me call him a cunt, I'd get an angry message.
I would definitely. And those are the kind of things where I'm just like, I would happily pay to see those things. And those are things you should pay for. You know, you should watch. Yeah.
I've seen big bits of all the Robodocs I've seen chunks that Chris has sent me, and that's going to be. It's taken so long, but I know why. It's because someone with a full-time job is doing these insane motion graphics for the whole project. But it looks fucking lovely. Robodoc is going to be, and I backed Robodoc before I met those guys. Before I even fucking spoke to any of them, I backed it because I wanted to see Robodoc. And I shot my little bit for it. But that's going to be fucking cool. Like, and there was bits included on the Arrow DVD even that came out last year.
Nice.
Blu-ray, sorry. But yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be good. We couldn't make anything this year because the reason nobody did anything this year, because this year sucks dick.
I'm hoping that, I know that Gary's he's spoken about me for Dark Ditties, which is their series on Amazon, and I would love to go and work with them guys. Them guys? What am I?
Them guys. New episode out, by the way, Dad. The new episode of Dark Ditties is out on Prime.
Which I must check out, because honestly, those little anthology shows just got better and better when I watched them. I have to say, I thought they because there's one called, is it Mum? Is Mum one of them? Mrs.
Willoughby, I want to say.
No, Willoughby is Brad's jam.
Oh fuck yeah!
There is, but I know what you mean. Yeah, Mrs. Something.
I should
fucking
know.
Good. That was fucking good. The makeup job and the performance from the central.
They're cool, aren't they? I can't remember the name of their DOP. Their DOP on those is fucking good.
Yeah,
they're really good.
And the other one. I have watched them, Gary, even though I don't remember the names of them, which is terrible. But they're brilliant. They are worth, if you're I don't know about the US, but in the UK they're on Amazon Prime, and they're worth, just as a sort of anthology curio, and a bit of homegrown British. And if you want to see a bunch of Hellraiser people as well doing,
yeah,
because there's a lot.
Because they made the Hellraiser doc as well. They made the doc Leviathan, which is like an 8-hour-long Hellraiser doc. Right. Can I just firstly, Benny Ledger says, Richard, can you get Ivan to read us a Christmas Carol? He likes Christmas things, maybe the game. More importantly, and this is a question I'd like to answer seriously, Richard, who would Duncan be in Dad's Army? Now, I'm a real fan, but I'm a big fan of Dad's Army. I think it's brilliant. I think Dad's Army is brilliant. I think it's one of the best British comedies ever. I really, really love it. That era of stuff I like. Probably Porridge is my favourite, like 70s sitcom. I love.
Also great.
Ian Clement and Lafrene, who wrote, they rewrote Never Say Never Again and other stuff. But in Dad's Army, I would probably cast you as Wilson. Not the volleyball that Tom Hanks fucks in Castaway.
Right.
Remember Wilson, like Captain Manring's number 2?
Yes. Yeah,
I think you could be quite a good. I think you could do a good, because he's kind of sort of like, he's quite posh. So you're doing like upper middle class guy, but he's also, I think you could also, because he's sort of away with the fairies quite a lot, and I think you could probably do that quite well. Because he's kind of like a bit of a ladies' man. He's kind of like the only one who really doesn't care. Everyone else is really histrionic, but he's the only one who doesn't care. And I think Wilson has a kind of dignity to him, and I think you could do that.
Oh, thank you. Well,
that's what I think.
Because I used to watch it a lot with my dad, but I did watch it a lot when I was younger. I haven't watched it in a long time. They did a remake, didn't they, with
it was terrible.
Toby.
It was very well cast. Yeah, Toby Jones. Hey, that film.
That's one of those, like, if you're going to cast that with British actors, because it was Toby Jones and
Bill Nighy was
Bill
Wilson.
Nighy, and yes, that's right.
Neil from The Inbetweeners was Pike. Daniel Mays was the Spiv guy. The Cockney Spiv guy. It was brilliantly cast. It was a brilliantly cast film. The problem I had with it is, like, the finale to that film, firstly, the cinematography was like the King's Speech. So it was like this really luscious kind of, because the King's Speech, despite taking place in the higher echelons of society, it's all filmed in kind of fog and grey, and like the speeches just take place in like dirty, decayed rooms and stuff. And the Dad's Army film had all these kind of like vistas of kind of like foggy beaches and streets and kind of decayed rooms and stuff, and with volumetric lighting, and it looked like a prestige period drama. And it's like, no, this is Dad's Army.
Who shot that?
Secondly, there's a very good question, because it's someone very good. They just aren't a good match for that. Excellent cinematography. It's just not good for a Dad's Army film. Secondly, the end of the film is them having a big action scene face-off with Germans on a beach where they're being shot at and stuff. And the whole point of Dad's Army is that nothing ever happens to them. Right. That's the joke. Like, that's the point. Like, the time they get, the whole don't tell them Pike when they get in trouble with the German spies that have dropped.
Yeah.
You know, the guy's got a bit... That's like the most that ever happens. Like, they don't actually get in trouble with the Germans, like, ever. They don't have battles. So, like, ending it with the big battle scene is, like, completely against the point. The point is, like, Wilson's got a bunch of sausages accidentally delivered to the wrong building. You know what I mean? It's never
It's
sort
not
of like, oh, there's a U-boat.
Goes forth. Yeah, no, it absolutely. Yeah, Christopher Ross was the cinematographer on that, who I don't really know, but... Because Danny Cohen, who did The King's Speech, I worked with, he shot me in a commercial... that I did, but
which one? Which commercial?
The Spider ETF. So the ring thing, the thing where I get for my grandma.
Oh, The King's Speech is a beautifully looking movie.
Dude, I was very proud of that. Actually, he shot that all on 35mm film, and which is I've never made an advert on 35mm film apart from that. And so no, he was clearly he was one of those, like, he's a cinematography wanker in the nicest possible, you know what I mean, like he lives and breathes cinema, lighting and film, and you know, we had an Arri truck following us around like the FBI in the back of a fucking it was just like everywhere you went, because it was like, this shit's gonna run out, we got to get this, bing bang boom. But he made a bloody advert on 35mm film, and it was in like, you know, Notting Hill and Carnaby, and
that's you shopping for the ring, right? Like the
and all that.
The ring for your like grandmother's
grandma, yeah, that's right. And then
you did show me that, and it looked amazing.
Yeah, well, the lady who played my grandma in that, she was in the she was the girl in the Yellow Pages ad. There was that famous Yellow Pages ad where the kid gets yellow fans on it. Give her a kiss or whatever, and then, but which had a similar theme about someone searching for a thing so they could do a thing for someone else, and so that.
And oddly enough, she's my grandma in real life.
There you go.
That's not true. Someone's going to go like, really? No, it's not true. No, that was a really beautiful. Yeah, I remember. Really beautiful looking ad.
Yeah.
Really
I mean, we
nice
shot that over 2 days, and it had, you know, obviously mega money behind it, but it looked, looked pretty bang on. But but shot by Danny Cohen, who did The King's Speech, and Les Mis, and he works with your mate.
I'm still. I have never ever said anything about the director Tom Hooper.
Right? No, nothing at all.
That is a phrase that's technically true.
Well, you've never said the words "never ever" Tom Hooper.
I've never told a story about a person I've met and named them.
Okay.
That's the safest version of that I can say.
Okay, right, I get you.
People may draw the dots like some kind of, Mindhunter thing through old podcasts and stuff, but I have never told a story about the director Tom Hooper on air ever.
I met him once.
No, I've never named the director Tom Hooper in a story on air ever.
I did meet him once when I did that doubling for Tom Hiddleston on the Jaguar advert, because he directed that, and I was pleading with him because I had to do this short film, and I had stubble in this short film that I was literally going on to shoot the next day. And I was like, can I keep my stubble for that? And he was like, no, Tom doesn't have a stubble. And I was like, yeah, but I'm in a fucking head. No one can see. Like, it's like miles away. It's literally I felt like going, the only reason I'm doing this job is just because I get to hang out of a helicopter. Like, that's because it's fun.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I'm not here
they
because
can't see.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm wearing his suit. So what? Like, no one's going to know. Like, it's a brief shot. And he was like, no, he's got to shave. So I had to go and shave. And anytime you have to wet shave on a thing and especially if it's like a night shoot, which that was, the makeup hand you the most awful Bic, like, here's a tiny can of Gillette and the nastiest Bic razor where the blades are angled just slightly too far out so as to.
Yeah, it'd be better for continuity if you're bleeding from the face. Like, if you look like Freddy Krueger, that would be better.
I remember doing Skyfall, and we had to shave every day for that. And I came in once, and the makeup ladies had to go at me about the type of razor I was using, and I was like, "What?" And she goes, "You're supposed to shave." And I went, "I did shave. I shaved like literally a couple of hours ago before I came in." And she was like, "Well, it doesn't look like it." And I went, "Well, I don't care." I was just like, I just fucking checked. She was like, well, you need to get a new razor. I was like, I felt like going shaving advice. Really? I was like, do you shave?
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? And anyway, I mean, she might have. Fair enough. But I was like,
very thick leg hair. Very thick.
I guess I have a bit of a 5 o'clock show. Like I have quite thick, dark facial hair, so I guess it does show under my skin. But I was like, I can't. That's like the Mr. Burns sideburns thing. I can't I'm like, what? I don't know what you think stubble is.
I told you to shave those sideburns.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, okay.
What does that mean? Like, is a couple of hours after? I know you're a very virile man, but you're not like that kind of like. Again, going back to Simpsons references, when he shaves and he just goes.
Yeah. No, I just have dark hair, so I guess it's sort of you can see it. But I was like, also, the camera's not going to pick that up. I was like, who cares? And she literally made me go and shave again with the nastiest skin scrapingest bit. And if you've ever shaved and then had to shave mere hours later, it's not the most pleasant thing. Anyway, but there you go. Yeah, I told you to get rid of those sideburns. It's that bit where he finally comes up to me and he's got like a line shade.
He's taken the
and he's just like, oh, okay, Mr. Burns, I don't know what you think sideburns are. And he goes, you're off the team. And he's just like,
well, I took some lumps out of myself today. It's 2 weeks in a row I've done that. I don't know what it is. It's a box fresh Mac 3 or Mac 4. What are they called? Mac 4? I can't remember.
I buy the 5-blade ones from Aldi, and they do a very good job.
I love the blade arm race continues. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's good. It's like 25 blades. It's just this sheet of blades you rub like a fucking washboard. You rub over your face. There is a law of diminishing returns on that. It's like you do have to have some sense of precision. Well, it's like the bigger the thing.
I want an Ouroboros, like a hoop.
Yeah, Aurora Borealis.
I haven't taken a blade to this in like 5 or 6 years. Obviously, I buzz it, but then I just do my neck. It's this that takes my time up now.
Right.
No, I think because I got a really lovely, delightfully close shave today, but I just managed to, and it looks like sort of I've been victim of a dullard vampire that tried to get through skull.
Dullard. I know, but I have a little thing because I've obviously I normally up until recently have had kind of a sort of stubble beard for a long time, but I have a kind of mole on my upper lip that isn't really noticeable, but it's there, and it's like I nick it every now and again, and it bleeds profusely. And it's a real pain in the ass.
And I guess that's kind of like, is this how I die? Like, when you
no, but it's But I quite liked sort of being clean shaven again. I haven't done it in a long time, and I'm enjoying it.
I don't have a chin. I can't do it. I need to conceal my non-chin.
I forgot I have a bit of a bum chin as well. Like that's sort of come to the fore since I realised I've got a bit of a cleft.
I took a little bit out of my ear early in my head shaving career, and I have also taken a bit out of my nose when I've done like the top, this bit when I took a bit out of my ear, it didn't stop bleeding for an hour, and I actually had to get one of my my little clips we use for when we hang up. I got a load of tissue paper and cotton wool and put one of my lighting clips on it, just trying to make it, because it bled for an hour, and it was just a little bit, and it's like, am I a haemophiliac? Is this how I die? It was because I don't normally have problems like that, but it just wouldn't stop bleeding. I was like, oh my fucking God, this is it.
Razor cuts always bleed for fucking ages. Like
an hour? That's crazy.
Yeah, but you've essentially like cut off a thing. That's why it's like skin has to grow over it. Like it takes it, but it's
not even the clamp. Because I'm so tight, I bought a packet of fucking orange Bics about 15 years ago, and I've never thrown them out because I used them, and I was kind of like, oh, this is the worst shave in the whole world. I'm never doing that again. But I can't throw these away. And I think
it feels deliberately so as well. Like it feels like they're made to be horrible, but there we are.
Like it's a rite of passage. It's to teach teenagers.
Yeah. I really need a wee. Can I go and get? Can I?
Oh yes, of course, of course. I'm not. You're not stuck in here with me. No, wait, wrong way.
I'm stuck in here with you, or something.
No, wait. No, wait. Okay, listen up, everybody. Duncan's passing urine, and you're stuck with me. I think we're going to actually. Do you know what? It's getting time to log off anyway. Probably when Duncan comes back, so we're getting for 10 o'clock, and I have got to see my family tomorrow, but also I've got a work meeting tomorrow as well. I've got to de-rig all this crap, so thank you for a good stream. please remember next Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. No Patreon movie vote. We're going to have Risky Quizness, special Risky Quizness episode live next week, 7:00, with a little bit of chat either side, probably. Also, this Sunday on Patreon for the correct Patreon tiers only will be a private watch party with me, just me. Duncan's looking after his babby and giving his missus a break, I imagine. So on Sunday night, private watch party with me on Patreon, and we're going to decide. I've already put a post up for you patrons to decide what film we're going to watch, so we'll get on that and we'll do that. So that discussion is still to be had. But next week, Risky Quizness, and the reason I'm pushing this so hard is because YouTube likes to not notify people about what's fucking going on, so I'll probably tweet the link out when it happens. But it's written, it's happening, it's going to be silly. That'll be fun, and then we're probably going to take a bit of a break over Christmas. I am. In other news, because of my mum and dad's health conditions, I've been self-isolating as of midnight last night, or midnight this morning. So I'm in quarantine for 14 days. So I'm not going anywhere. So I'm kind of hoping I could do some gaming streams and stuff in that time. So Christmas won't be complete dead zone. I'll keep doing content. I'll try and get some exclusive Patreon stuff up as well. But yeah, I'm in quarantine. So I'll find some ways to keep you guys amused anyway. Let's have a look. Here he comes. Chewbacca's neighbour loved the stream. We love you too, Chewbacca's neighbour. Thank you for loving the stream. I just told everybody about Risky Quizness. Again, I'm just reiterating. I don't know if you saw on Patreon, but I announced last night that I'm going to do the private watch party on Sunday for everyone.
Yes.
So hopefully people won't be working and things.
Yeah,
jolly good. It is getting up to 10, and I would like to bugger off at 10 because you and I have a meeting tomorrow, and I've got to go see my dad tomorrow and stuff. So, if we can get offline at 10.
Indeed. Yeah, no, of course.
But we got a few minutes left. Oh, look at that. James Atkinson says Alan Partridge Oast House review. I was just saying because
we've kind of done that though, haven't we? It's brilliant.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Adam Buxton's book on Audible at the moment.
Okay.
As you know, I'm a big Adam Buxton is someone I kind of idolise. So I'm reading his book. It's quite good. It's very interesting. I won't bore you. He's a funny guy. I just love him. He's one of my favourite people ever. So yeah, I was just saying because I'm quarantining. I'm going to go see my mum and dad tomorrow, but they're the reason I'm quarantining. So I'm going to go and sort of stand in their garden tomorrow. Or well, not exactly, but I'm allowed in one half of the house in a mask. So you sort of look after my dad for a bit while my mum goes out, and then I'm back here quarantining for 2 weeks, so I can spend Christmas with them. And I was just saying, like, I'll try and because I'm stuck here. I'll probably do some gaming streams or something. I'll do some something over the break.
Nice, just
something to do because I'm stuck here. But Risky Quizmas is the proper name. We'll do that next week.
Yeah.
Such as the mastery of puns, our dominion over puns. It's a pun based on a pun.
Based on a portmanteau, based on a.
And so goes the spiral of rubbishness.
Yeah, man. Oast. Look, I mean, that's. I think our review of Oast House is brilliant. Please seek it out and listen to it because it's just fucking. For me, it was like one of those things where I go, this is probably the medium that works best for Alan Partridge in that, like. Obviously, it works visually because you can do visual gags with Alan Partridge, and that is true. But I think when it's torn down to that level where it's not even like they're allowed to really do much Foley in it. There's Foley to support what he's doing, but generally speaking, that it is just his voice, and it's basically his inner monologue. Because there's a few times when he sort of has to interact with other characters, but for most of the time, it's just his inner monologue, and it's like that. That is where it's
his stream of consciousness, isn't it? Because he even unguarded, he digs himself into holes constantly, and he's like overqualified himself, and you just get because like I firstly, Partridge fits into different formats, right? And this time it's podcast, right? We've never seen that before, so it's Partridge's podcast, which makes total sense. And there are new insights into his world. As I said to you before, the stuff about Lynn. Like the character moments about Lynn are really important, like really, really important sort of character beats. But also like the real tragedy of his life, like the stuff about his grandkids and his son. and everything, and like how he'd been essentially, someone sent him a video of his grandchildren's birthday party, and he watched it and put a paper hat on so he could feel like he was there. It's just like this.
And doesn't he records that time capsule for them in the loft or whatever. And as he's doing so, they turn up, and he's stuck in the loft.
He's stuck in the loft,
and it's that thing of that sort of hubristic thing of his like he's so hoisted by his own petard all the time. But it's like that is a literal version of that, and it's kind of like it's I mean, it descends into madness at the end. I mean, literal madness. Like he literally starts going insane, basically being stuck in. And that's the thing. He's in his ivory tower,
his host house.
Yeah, I mean, someone did a critique of Alan Partridge that I saw recently, and kind of saying that they thought Steve Coogan had kind of gone away from the roots of what Partridge was. I don't think he has entirely. I think he shifted it.
I think people say that. People love to say that because he's not just a shit anymore. But it's because the character's changed. The man has changed along with the character.
The point of it was, I suppose, to ridicule the media class in the sense of feeling kind of holier than thou, or feeling, like he aspired to be at the top of the media class tree. And I sort of think the thing that they were missing was that it was like, but the point was he was always slapped down for it. Like he was a sort of vacuous, will do anything presenter just to be there. But, and then when he attained a certain amount of fame, started lording it up over everyone. And it was an indictment of the media class, which has now kind of been spun round on Coogan, I think, because he sort of does associate with that.
Yeah, because he's exactly, and I think he's had to reconfigure the characters because the Gibbons brothers came in late era, and they've been doing things with Coogan, like Iannucci and Bainham and stuff have gone. But because now a big part of it, and it's not exclusive to this, but now it's an older man trying to recapture his youth, but also desperately trying to relate to a younger audience, which he's totally incapable of.
Well, because the beauty of it is that the character is now aged into the age that he was always aspiring. Because like when he was younger, because like when you look at the early stuff, he was super young, and he was sort of,
he's like 27 or something.
Yeah, and he's like aspiring to like kind of Roger Moore era, like going around Paris in his whatever, it's like blazers with patches and shit like that, and it's just like, what are you? This sort of weird anachronistic dumpster fire of a human.
So I think Partridge is supposed to be 10 years older than Coogan. It's like he's supposed to be. So even so, if he's like mid-30s, but he's walking around in like cable knit cardigans and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the sports shit. Because I think people, because if you watch old Partridge, like Partridge is a cunt. Like he's this nasty piece of work. But you do sort of root for him, and he's become more likable and a bit softer. But that's because the character has changed. He's not going to be the same man. Like I think there's an authenticity in the way that character's evolved based on the experiences we've seen him have.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I agree. I do think, and I think the comment, I think the comment that it's making on the media class is still valid. I suppose if it depends on your disposition, but I do think that like he can, like you say, he can change, and people do. This is all human subjectivity. It's allowed to be different. But I do think that like I think he's aged into a place now where it's like there's so much more to him as a character now that's still intrinsically true to who he was. I mean, it's like if you watch the evolution of that character now, it's like it's like be careful what you wish for, because it's that kind of thing like where you attained the thing that essentially you were trying to do, and it led to the downfall of your humanity and everyone around you. And it's like it's like all his sort of shittiness is like there's that scene where he's like starts he's paying his gardeners or whatever to
go after the troll,
the troll online and stuff like that. And it's like it's just it's such a brilliant.
And he sees the guy take his mum out of the house in a wheelchair, and then you see him talk himself out of his plan, outwardly refusing to admit that he's wrong, but you just get from the subtext and is that he's learned something on a human level. And it's actually quite sweet.
Oh god, yeah,
that's really masterful kind of comedy writing.
I think absolutely. And I think as well, like but it's also a comedy. I mean, I think as well, Oast House has been probably an accidental not panacea, but like a kind of, it's been accidentally very relevant for the last, year, because a lot of it's about the descent into madness of a man trapped within his own council. He has nothing but his own council in those things, and it's like, really, that's what it is. By the end of it, it's like he's convinced himself of all this insane crap. And he's, like, because there's even that episode where he hid behind a fucking credenza or whatever because he thought someone was breaking in, and it turned out it was just a bathroom blind banging again. And it's just like,
and the stuff where when he's nursing the bird back to health and he won't let it go.
Yeah,
and he gives it a name. It's like, it's really tragic, but it's really funny, and it's just insanely pathetic because the bird doesn't need him and never did, and just wants to leave, but he won't let it go. It's lovely. It's so nicely done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Floyd Dillon has said, "I thought you two were supposed to be fucking off," with a laughy face, which is very accurate. Yes. Well, there is your Oast House review. There's your bonus Partridge content. I'm sort of wielding my Fema pen. This is my standard bench. It's the bedroom pen. It's got a good ink flow.
Yeah.
We are going to go. The thing that's been happening the last 2 weeks, as I said at the top of the stream, was when I terminate the stream, YouTube deletes it. And I haven't changed any settings. I don't know what this is. So I've opted out of Restream this week, as I said to you at the start. So we're only streaming on YouTube today to hopefully resolve that. I have recorded the entire stream on OBS. So if YouTube does delete this stream and you want to go to the replay, because something I've noticed, it was quite sweet. What I noticed the last couple of weeks is a lot of you want to go immediately into the replay because you've come in late. I will immediately re-upload it if YouTube fucking deletes it arbitrarily. So that's that. I've got a backup ready, basically is what I'm saying. I've updated the credit roll today. So
Thank
all
you,
you
boss.
patrons, you're gonna, no worries. It's snowy and Christmassy, as I showed you before.
Indeed.
So that's exciting. So you guys, those of you very kindly support us on Patreon. As I mentioned, I will be on Sunday. I know a bunch of you checked out Duncan's AMA last night, but we're off, aren't we, Duncan?
We are. Dunzo.
All right, I'm going to press the button. We'll see you next week. We love you. Goodbye.
Thank you, guys.